as you're going to deny it, I'll also continue investigating until the truth comes out. I can assure you of that.
You should have thought of that before you betrayed me.
I never betrayed you, believe me, Dad. I will not leave the company voluntarily, and neither will Alejandro.
This means you have to get out of here, Alejandro. Do you have any idea of how things are going and when you might get out? The Amazons.
Good morning. You're watching KBC Channel 1. You're just in time for Good Morning Kenya, where we keep you informed on the latest news, given matters politics, as well as business and what is happening in the sporting arena. Further on, we have engaging conversations on matters politics, as well as looking at what women are doing to change the dynamics in as far as this country and beyond is concerned. And also a sneak peek on our major roads, just to help you get to your workstation using the available routes and the fastest and safest route we can find on our traffic updates. Good morning once again. Thank you for making time. It is the 17th of November. It's a Wednesday. As they say, it's ladies' night. Well, we do not know that was then. Maybe things have changed, but it is 2021. And we are almost coming to a close of 2021 in not too long. We'll be talking about the Christmas festivities. Question to you is that, have you achieved what you had laid out to achieve beginning of this year? If you haven't, well, there's still time. You can make do with what you have. I'm Regina Manyara, and this is Good Morning Kenya.
We are good. What's that?
How you guys doing? Regina and Stephanie.
Regina.
We are doing good.
Y'all good?
We're good.
Good,
Yeah.
good, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Very good.
Okay. Good morning once again. As always, it is a pleasure to have you joining us right here on Good Morning Kenya. It is a beautiful Wednesday morning. I am Jane Wamboye, and as Ray has rightfully put it, today we will be having our conversation about women on our Women at the Forefront segment. And today it's going to be a little bit sensitive because we are going to be talking about addiction among women. Understanding the patterns, the major drivers, and solutions, because as per what data out there says, addiction in women has been seen to go way back, and it is one of the things that aren't really given the attention that it deserves due to gender-based discrimination, which is a very sad reality, but it is so. So we'll be having that conversation to understand how we are doing in the Kenyan space and look at potential ways to just help alleviate the problem. That will be coming up in not too long. Stephanie.
Yes, hello there. Good morning. It's a bit cooler over here in the Highlands today. Yesterday was a bit hot, probably because of the great energies in this place from the people. And I'm so excited about today's show. My name is Stephanie Ayata, and I'll be bringing you to the traffic updates so that you can know which routes are best for you to take.
Fantastic. And the question is, what is your addiction, by the way? People are addicted to so many things. You can be addicted to your favorite drink, coffee, tea, porridge. What is your addiction? But now Jen is going to have
cell phones.
Exactly, even cell phones. The people who cannot stay away from their phones even for an hour without going on their social media. So an addiction is addiction. And by the way, it said that you may not know that you're addicted to something
Yes.
Generally having that discussion. But
The
again,
role is real.
Yeah. We're having a discussion as well on matters transport. Let's understand the transport system. It was one of the most affected industries during this pandemic, but then now things are slowly taking shape, and we'll be having a discussion with the chairman of the Metro Trans Sacco, the chairman of the Metro Sacco, if you know them. So we'll be having a discussion just for us to understand what are the dynamics in the transport industry, as well as how you can learn something from those people who are in the industry as well. For our friends in Kampala, tunasema poleni sana for what happened yesterday, but back home we have a new governor, Anne Kananu.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we have a new governor. 9 months to go. Power to the women.
10 months in waiting, 9 months to go.
And by the way, do you know she did not campaign? And she got
At
it.
all.
Wow.
What does that show? You can get it when the right time comes. God has
When
you.
Jesus say yes.
Nobody can.
She didn't campaign.
There we go.
Can I throw some spanner into the works into this conversation?
Yes.
Rusha.
ahead.
Well,
Rusha
she may not
Machete.
have campaigned, but see what she went through before
Yeah.
actually getting that position.
The
And
legal-
with just less than a year to go, since we have transitioned, the elections are just around the corner, she may be forced to learn the ropes of the office while still planning her campaigns if she wants to maintain her position
Yeah.
come 2022. So she has
A
her
lot.
plate full, so to speak. And there's a very interesting header in one of the dailies that I have, actually the Standard. They say how Sonko fumbled own way out of office. So yeah,
But
when
then
we're
again,
talking,
on a higher note, she has entered the history books.
yes,
Exactly.
as the first female
As the
governor.
first female governor of Nairobi. The third one, of course, but the first female.
And-
Women at the forefront.
At the forefront. And having in mind that she got there without campaign. So let me put it this way. At the right time, it will happen. Two, rough patches or rough road will always lead you to that great destination. The way Regina Mesema, she's gone through a lot. Court
Her
battle
ascension to
after.
that office.
It's not easy. But anyway, nonetheless, congratulations, Madam Anne Kananu. Kazi
Ati
kwako
nini,
sasa.
Victor?
Madam Anne Kananu.
Before that, unasema congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations.
When you're talking about that, Victor posed a question
Victor amechanganyikiwa.
and he's not answered it. So what's your addiction, Victor?
Yeah?
What's your addiction?
Addictions are so many.
Are you addicted
Pick
to
one.
anything that you are
I
consciously knowledgeable about?
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm addicted to my shags.
Yeah, ni
Funny.
kweli.
I'm addicted to my village.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't stay in Nairobi for like 2 weeks.
Ngumu.
Ngumu.
All right.
Now you know.
Regina,
Twende kazi.
katakata hiyo news.
Indeed, and we start off with matters of security, and we cross borders, stories that rocked, East Africa, so to speak, more so Uganda, where 6 people, including 3 suicide bombers, have been confirmed dead, and this is after 2 explosions ripped through Uganda's capital, Kampala, Tuesday morning. Further on, authorities in Uganda's capital have put the number of casualties to 33, warning that fatalities could be higher, as many of those hospitalized at the Mulango Hospital in the capital are fighting for their lives. Let's find out what has happened and also look at if we have any updates in regard to that matter.
Uganda's capital Kampala was Tuesday morning ripped by a twin blast which claimed the lives of 6 people, including 3 the local police say were suicide bombers. Uganda's police spokesperson Fred Enanga said 2 of the 3 suicide bombers were caught on tape riding a motorbike near the Jubilee Insurance offices on Parliamentary Avenue. According to authorities in Uganda, the first explosive, which occurred near the Central Police Station at 10:03 a.m. local time, went off when a lone suicide bomber on foot who was caught on surveillance cameras detonating a bomb near the entrance of the police post. 3 minutes later, 2 bombers on a motorbike detonated an explosive device on police officers at a checkpoint, killing the officers on the spot and causing destruction that spread out nearly 30 meters away. Police in Uganda have linked the attack to a domestic terror group. The 4th suspected suicide bomber, according to Uganda police, was struck down, shot and arrested, and a suicide jacket was recovered from his house.
While still keeping up with matter security, and in regard to that matter, the Kenya Police spokesperson Bruno Shioso says there is no terror threat in the country and that security has been heightened along the borders, even as he urged Kenyans to remain vigilant.
In attacks in Kampala, Uganda, the security apparatus in the country have heightened surveillance within towns and borders. Police spokesperson Bruno Shioso assuring Kenyans there is no terror threat within the country, even as police remain on high alert.
So far, it remains calm. We enhance the security by adding more officers towards the borderline, all the points of entry and exit. We have roadblocks on all the roads leading to that area. So what I'm saying is very calm.
Members of the public, however, have been encouraged to be watchful of any suspicious persons and activities within their neighborhoods.
Already we've been very alert as a country, as a security apparatus, and architecture has been on high alert. But what we've just done again is just to beef it much more based on what happened today in Kampala.
This as the government continues tracking 3 terror suspects who escaped from Kamiti Maximum Prison Monday. The escapees, Musharraf Abdallah alias Shukri, Muhammad Ali Abika, and Joseph Juma Odhiambo, were serving time ranging from 41 years to 15 years in prison. Meanwhile, matatu operators plying the Kenya-Uganda border calling on the police to supply them with the photos of the escapees.
What has happened in Kampala can easily happen here. So we urge our colleagues to be extra careful when working. Be very vigilant on whom you are handling and whom you are working with.
Still related to that, and you are going to be sampling this as we continue with in the headlines. The header this morning on this particular daily, that is a standard. It just gives a chronological account of how the 3 terror convicts escaped Kamiti Maximum Prison. And there's some questions that have been asked since that. And one of the questions is, why did it take the prison's authorities more than 8 hours to establish that the terror convicts had escaped? That's the first question. The second question, after the officers learned of the prison break, why did they delay to alert the local police? Thirdly, how did the escapees beat 3 layers of security to scale a 10-foot wall in a compound with floodlights? Those are some of the questions that are being asked at a time when we know we have heightened security over what happened Tuesday in Kampala, as well as the 3 missing terror convicts there. One among them is Abikar, who is linked to the Garissa University terror attack there that left 148 people dead. And one of the other convicts, we have Joseph Juma Odhiambo and Musharraf Shukri, alias Shukri there, one convicted over trying to, bomb Kenya Parliament buildings, as well as the other trying to join the Al-Shabaab. So they were caught at the border. So many questions still linger. We're going to try and answer them, given what the authorities have said so far in regard to this matter. What we know for now is that no one has been apprehended yet. 7 wardens are still in police custody as investigations continue. You and I have been asked to be our brother and sister's keeper. If you have information that may lead to the rearrest of these 3 convicts, the DCI is even adding an incentive of 60 million shillings if you know their whereabouts or where or what they are planning to do at a time when, government is also saying that we are safe, but we need to be vigilant. Off to some sad news is that 11 people died and 9 others were seriously injured when a 21-seater minibus rolled down Thura River Bridge in Embu County on Tuesday morning. According to Regional Commissioner Isaiah Nakoru, the bus license to carry 21 passengers had 61 passengers on board. The bus was ferrying elderly people from Mumenji to Siakago to register for the monthly Inua Jamii funds.
This is the wreckage of the vehicle that was involved in a Grizzly Road accident on Tuesday at 9 a.m. The bus is said to have plunged into a river along Kiries-Siakago Road in Muminji area of Mbeere North constituency, Embu County.
Na kumbe mafuta iliisha, imeenda mbele kidogo. Driver ametafuta mafuta, ameweka kwa basi. Then huyu driver badala ya alivostart gari kwa sababu gari ni mzee alishindwa. So what he did, aka-engage reverse gear. Na basi ikaenda reverse na kutumbukia kwa mto.
According to the Eastern Regional Commissioner Isaiah Nakoru, the accident claimed the lives of 11 people while 9 others were left nursing serious injuries at the Embu Level 5 hospital. Another 41 passengers are said to be nursing minor injuries.
Kwa hivyo hii basi ilikuwa inabeba watu, inatakiwa kubeba watu 21, ilikuwa inabeba 61. So mara 3 ya capacity yake. The last time ilifanywa inspection was 2020. Na ikasemekana isitembee kwa barabara. Na kwa sababu huko ni rural area, hao watu wakaanza kuteka advantage na kuweza kubeba watu.
He reported that majority of the passengers in the bus were elderly persons who were heading to Siakago town to register as beneficiaries of the Inua Jamii program.
Walikuwa wanakuja kupata huduma kwa sababu serikali wakati huu inaendelea kusaidia wasee wapate pesa ya kujimudu kimaisha. Lakini huyu kaidi driver aliweza kuumiza wale wasee.
A manhunt for the driver of the bus who immediately fled the scene of the accident has commenced.
Wasiendesha magari bila insurance. Kama sasa hii tukiangalia iliisha insurance last month. Sijui iko na mwezi mzima bila insurance, inaendeshwa hivyo tu. Sasa kama watu kama hawa claim ikifanywa inalipwa na nani?
If I'm not wrong, that is Newton Karish there. If you grew up in the 80s, you must have, had one of his jams there. But now talking about matters of road safety. My question is, when you board an overloaded PSV, are you considering your safety? Where does citizen responsibilities come in? And I like that we're going to be having a conversation with one of the players within the PSV value chain. They'll help us understand. Hearing from the regional commissioner, they're saying that that particular vehicle, the ill-fated vehicle, had overloaded, carrying the licensed passenger number was 21, but this particular bus had 61 passengers on board. 11 of them perished. 9 are fighting for their lives. Was that necessary? The last time that the bus actually underwent inspection was in 2020. Let's not even talk about matters insurance. At the end of the day, security is in your hands. Choose what to do. It's your life at the end of the day. We'll be tackling that in not too long, but for now we take a quick breather. We'll be right back.
Bibi akiniona hivi anaona Afghanistan. Na kasa. Pana mchezo na mtolea sura namna hivi ya Taliban mwenyewe.
Hata niko na pingu kwa nyumba. Niko na musalisa. Unajua ile ya hivi? Nikimuvalia kofia ya Mwanjesi, alafu nimukanyange hivi kwa tumbo na kongo.
Ni kweli hizi sote ni rough bite. Hizi sote
wewe mzee na wewe hata hujionei huruma.
Unaogopa yeye sana ndugu yangu sana.
Lazima aogope ikiwa anamfanya hivi.
Totally.
Na anasema ni love bite.
Siogope huko mbele ya mahakama. Haya kamata.
I know you're still angry at me, but let's stop fighting, all right?
If the two empresses of the former emperor don't want to see you two brothers fight and ask you to hand over the throne to the crown prince Jinshen, I wonder how far you're willing to go to hold on to it.
Do you still remember what I told you that night? You're my whole world. Whoever opposes you cannot be spared.
You planning for me to die there? Maybe I am.
Mimi hata wazimu pia hata sikuwa nao. Hiki changu ni kipawa Maya.
Hakuna, nilikuwa na msindikisha pili.
Kwani hana miguu? Na wewe hauna masikio ama ndo nini?
Don't fool yourself. Sikuja hapa kwa sababu yako. Thank you for leaving me for my mom's house. It's not that she's mean, it's just that she does not get me.
Wajua mmenikoroga. Ni vipi?
No.
Good morning once again. If you're joining us, this is Good Morning Kenya, where we're, bringing you up to speed with those stories that have been making headlines. Now we talk about Nairobi County, that so Anne Mwenda Kananu is now governor of Nairobi. Kananu was sworn in as the third governor of the city in a brief ceremony on Tuesday, pledging to improve sanitation, early childhood education, and revitalize Nairobi's 24-hour economy.
I am equal to the task, were the key highlight words by Anne Kananu Mwenda as she took over the mantle of a city, albeit for a short stint. Following months of protracted court battles by impeached Governor Mike Sonko, the Supreme Court paved way for her swearing in last week after dismissing a petition filed by the deposed governor. Pomp, color, and the allure of power greeting Kananu as she took her place in the podium to take the oath of office administered by Lady Justice Lillian Mutende.
I, Kananu Mwenda, do swear that I shall always truly and diligently serve the people of the Republic of Kenya in the office of the Governor of Nairobi City County. That I shall diligently discharge my duties and perform my functions in the state office to the best of my judgment, that I shall do justice to all. So help me God.
Kananu says she will collaborate with the Nairobi Metropolitan Services in the delivery of services to the 6 million residents of Nairobi. The governor has embarked on an ambitious plan to supply free milk to the more than 6,000 students in early childhood education centers in Nairobi.
All an inclusive education and improved quality of early learning through the employment of additional 219 ECD teachers, improved health of our children through better nutrition, through the provision of free milk for approximately 6,450 children in the ECT centers across the 17 sub-counties in the county.
Kananu also pledged to improve access to water and sanitation in Nairobi, as well as revitalize Nairobi's 24-hour economy.
Improved water and sanitation for Nairobi residents in the informal settlements through the sinking of boreholes and installation of 850 water tanks, that is 10 tanks for every ward in the county.
Political undertones also characterized the event, with Kananu thanking President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga, who have been instrumental in her political journey.
I wish to acknowledge and appreciate His Excellency the President and the former Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga for promoting inclusion, peace and cohesion, which the county of Nairobi greatly depends on to thrive.
Most elected MPs from the 17 constituencies in Nairobi, the woman rep and senator, were absent in the swearing-in ceremony.
Applause, ladies and gentlemen. Nairobi, asante sana.
Now the question is, she takes up office 9 months to the general election. Will that be time enough for her to make an impact? You and I will be here to watch what transpires in 2022, God willing. Now, crossing over to matters politics is that ODM leader Raila Odinga says he will end the thorny land question that has dogged the coastal region for decades. Speaking in Kwale County, Raila said that if elected, he will ensure cartels operating as private developers and defrauding locals of their ancestral land are prosecuted.
Kanana, Lungalunga constituency, Kwale County, was the first stopover for ODM leader Raila Odinga to popularize the Azimio la Umoja drive after a 2 hours closed-door meeting with the local leadership. He would later proceed to Ukunda and Likoni. It is here that Raila sold his bid to liberate the locals from the thorny land question, joblessness as well as a struggling economy.
Najua serikali imejaribu kupeana title deeds, lakini haijatosha. Ile ambayo imekuja juu yake sana ni mambo ya ujambazi. Kila kitu ni yako, hasara ni yako. Sasa jamaa ngoja hapa nje ukitoke ati utoze ushuru. Ati kupata leseni shilingi 1,100 na shilingi ngapi? Hiyo ni upuzi.
The former primer promising that if elected, he will deal with private developers who have been oppressing the locals who have been rendered squatters.
Dawa yao ni kushikwa na kuwekwa ndani. Manake hao ni wahalifu, ni criminals. Na wanajulikana, ama sivyo?
Mambo za ardhi za pwani zimeelezwa kinaga, lakini uongozi ambao inaweza kusuluhisha hii maneno lazima itoke kwa tuna rais.
He once again defended his social protection fund, saying it will revive the economy as well as provide jobs for the many youth.
Nasema hiyo ni porojo, hiyo ni propaganda ya Raila, hakuna ukweli. Wacha. Pilipili Swahila ya kuwashani.
The opposition leader challenged young people not to fall prey to handouts being dished by some politicians.
Kila mwezi wanatoa ati harambee hizo shilingi milioni 100,000. Na mshahara yake ni milioni 2 peke yake. Hiyo ingine inatoka wapi? Ni pesa ya umma umeiba.
Local leaders hit out at Deputy President William Ruto, who has been trying to make inroads at the region, affirming the region's loyalty to the party.
Amebaki saa hii katika nchi yetu, ako na ujuzi, na akili na maarifa ya kuongoza nchi yetu ni mtu mmoja peke yake ambaye ni Raila Amolo.
Kuna pocha ya Shimoni hapa ambaye bado imechelewa. Kuna Dongo Kundu ambaye tunaiongoja. Na hizo ndio zitaleta kazi hapa, tusikae tukadanganywa kama watoto. Hakuna mambo ya wheelbarrow hapa.
Mambo ya social protection tunayaunga mkono, ya kuwa wale ambao hawana mapato, Raila Amolo Odinga atapeana 6,000 kila kijana wetu na watu wetu.
Najua akiwa rais wa Kenya tutakuwa na Kenya ya aina gani? Kenya itatosha ama haitatosha?
Mchagua Mjaluo ni land reforms automatically choose Raila for better future of this nation.
Ushirika. Sasa amekuja hapa kutafuta ushirika na watu wa Kwale na watu wa Pwani ili tuhakikisha kwamba katika ile serikali tutakuwa pamoja.
Juni Karisa Mbele from Mombasa County.
Still keeping up with matters politics, Deputy President William Ruto says his government will prioritize agriculture and small-scale ventures if elected president next year. DP Ruto, who was on his second day of Mount Kenya, is promised to set aside 50 billion shillings to power small and medium enterprises for wealth and job creation.
DP Ruto's second day in Meru County saw him make stopovers at Lare, Maua, Mutwati and Mikinduri towns, where he promised to revitalize the country's agricultural base if elected president next year.
Tutaweka pesa kwa kilimo, tuzalishe chakula ya kutosha, tumsaidie mkulima atuzalishie chakula ya kutosha, ili chakula ifike hapa sokoni kwa bei nafuu na kila mtu apate haki ya kuweka meza ya watoto wake na mke wake chakula kwa bei inayofaa.
Ruto wooing Mira farmers in the region, saying they will be the pioneer beneficiaries of the bottom-up economic model that will target cooperatives to assist farmers.
Priority yetu number 1 ni kuweka pesa ya serikali bilioni 100 katika miradi na mipango ya agro-processing, value addition, manufacturing, ili tuweze kupatia hawa vijana wetu ajira as a matter of priority.
The DP said he will create a basket of 50 billion shillings to help the growth of small and medium-scale enterprises.
Kwa sababu hawa wananchi waliokuwa blacklisted kwa CRB ni kwa sababu ya madeni madogo madogo. Wengi hawana title deed, hawana logbook, hawana security, wanakopa pesa kwa Shylock, wanakopa pesa Fuliza, ndio wameingizwa ndani ya CRB. Mimi ninasema mwaka ujao tunaweka pesa ya serikali bilioni 50 kwa hazina ya watu biashara ndogo ndogo, hawa wasiingizwe ndani ya CRB.
Sisi watu wa Mount Kenya ni watu wa biashara na kazi, na tunataka kusupport umoja wetu ambaye ni William Ruto.
Sisi tukiwa wa Meru tuko tayari kuungana na naibu rais kuunda serikali ya 2022, na sisi tukiwa wabunge 10 tumeshikana mkono ndio tuweze kutembea safari na naibu rais.
The corridors of justice now, where Lugari Member of Parliament Ayub Savula and his former broadcasting and telecommunication PS Sami Itemere will now have to counter evidence adduced by the late former National Commission's Public Relations Officer Jennifer Wambua. The court has declined to expunge Wambua's evidence in the 122 million shillings graft case at the government advertising agency facing the two.
Yes. Lugari Member of Parliament Ayub Savula and former Broadcasting and Telecommunication PS Sami Itemere have lost their bid to have the court recuse evidence provided by the late National Lands Commission PRO Jennifer Wambua before her death in March this year. The court ruled that the evidence provided by the late Wambua will be used in prosecuting the 122 million shillings graft case. Wambua was a state witness in a case where Lugari Member of Parliament Ayub Savula and the former Broadcasting and Telecommunication PS Sami Itemere are facing graft cases. Meanwhile, the lover of the late athlete Agnes Tirop has been charged with murder. 41-year-old Ibrahim Rotich pleaded not guilty to the murder charge. The late Tirop was found dead at her Itaine house on the 13th of October this year. Elsewhere, former Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu has been charged afresh in the 588 graft case. The state has introduced a new charge that involves dealing with public property against Waititu and his company Psyche 2 Estate Limited. Finally, a petitioner member Ocharo has moved to court, aggrieved with the DPP's move to secretly take senior media editors to Mombasa with the intent to muzzle the media, corrupt them or intimidate them and unaccountably misuse resources that were not contemplated during budget allocation.
The petitioner is questioning who is going to fund that retreat. The taxpayers' money are going to be used in hotels to address editors, not even court reporters. If one Nuruddin Haji got a gag order to gag the media, not to cover the story, what business does he have to go back and call again the editors through the Media Council to go and address them?
The petitioner further says the intention of the meeting by the DPP was to mitigate the adverse publicity following 5 petitions before the Public Service Commission seeking his removal.
The Ministry of Environment has called on the Mombasa County government to expedite the closure and relocation of the illegal dump site on the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation land in Kisauni. Chief Administrative Secretary Mohammed Elmi says the dump site poses serious health risk apart from being an affront to the state broadcaster.
Efforts by the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation to reclaim its land in Kisauni has gained a powerful voice. The Ministry of Environment now says the land, which has been choked by reckless dumping of waste, must be vacated and fenced off.
Do hope to sort out whatever is hampering the erecting of a wall around this site. We're just telling the people who are dumping here, the people who are now trying to stop this land being utilized for the proper purpose, that's not acceptable.
Located at the border between Nyali and Kisauni constituencies, VOK, as it is commonly referred to, has been at the center of a row between KBC and the Mombasa County government.
Sisi kama CBO tulikuwa tayari kabisa kwenda kotini ili tupate environmental court iweze kuamua ili jambo.
KBC Managing Director Dr. Naim Bilal says KBC has a land utilization plan in place, but its implementation has been in limbo due to the long-standing tussle with the county.
Ours is to urge the county government of Mombasa to facilitate KBC to proceed with our intent. Indeed, the project for which we got a contractor to fence this land.
The relocation of the dump site will be a win for KBC and environmental conservation efforts in the region.
You are likely to start witnessing lower power bills as the Kenya Power shifts focus on enhancing the accuracy of its billing system. Kenya Power chairperson Vivian Yeda says the utility firm is leveraging on technology to improve meter reading and revenue protection. This emerged during an investor briefing where Energy Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Monica Juma reiterated that the government is pushing ahead with reforms in the energy sector since it will define Kenya's prosperity agenda.
Even though the problems that have inhibited Kenya Power from meeting optimal performance have been termed historical or political, Energy Cabinet Secretary Monica Juma believes the fortunes of the utility firm can be turned around. She told an investor briefing that the government is keen on reforming Kenya Power and the energy sector in general, since Kenya's economic growth and prosperity agenda will largely depend on the reforms.
We are having a cabinet subcommittee that is engaged on this matter on a daily basis. There's a cabinet subcommittee I think the statement of the president on this matter has been clear, very clear. And his actions have also been very clear. I don't think the change in the top administration on the Ministry of Energy should be taken lightly.
She says the intention is to ensure that Kenya Power and the larger energy sector operates optimally.
This is not just about KPLC. We are engaging with the IPPs. We are going to be engaging with the financiers, and I have to say I've commenced that engagement. What Mheshimiwa Waweru was talking about in terms of calling them out, I think we're inviting them to our conversation because there is a global context there. And the frameworks, the global frameworks are out there. They are known.
Among the issues at the Kenya Power has been erratic billing system that customers have petitioned to have addressed.
Going forward, significant focus will be placed on improving the accuracy of our billing system by investing in a more robust IT infrastructure and leveraging on technology to improve meter reading and revenue protection. In addition, we will also undertake an extensive overhaul of our internal processes to ensure optimal results.
The Presidential Task Force on Review of Power Purchase Agreements recommended renegotiation of some of the power purchase deals, suspension of expensive ones, and termination of ongoing negotiations.
Well, as Wanjiko, I can't wait. The cost of power is getting out of hand. Now, Kenya imported goods worth 1.3 trillion shillings between January and August 2021 against an export portfolio worth 490 billion shillings. This widened Kenya's trade deficit to 852 billion shillings compared to 631 billion shillings during a similar period in 2020. According to the Kenya Export Report, this has been attributed to, among others, limited domestic purchasing power, shrinking government budgets, increased external and internal debt, and poor infrastructure. During the first 8 months of this year, Kenya's top 4 export products are horticulture, tea, clothing, and apparel. Kenya recorded 15.5% increase in total exports to 490 billion shillings, up from 424 billion shillings in 2020. This was against an increase of 27.1% in imports, worth 1.3 trillion shillings. As such, the balance of trade deficit for the period January to August 2021 deteriorated by 25.9% to 852 billion shillings in 2021 from 631 billion shillings during a similar period in 2020. The impact of Kenya's move to diversify her exports to include horticultural products, clothing, cement, soda ash, as well as easing of domestic restrictions on imports to decrease its dependence on the volatile agricultural market is yet to bear fruit. In hindsight, Uganda continues to be Kenya's top export destination, with exports valued at 14 billion shillings finding their way to the neighboring country. Salt, cement, machinery, and vehicle parts and accessories led the pack in export products destined for Uganda. The Netherlands was second, with Kenya's exports valued at 13 billion shillings, followed by the Democratic Republic of Congo at 10 billion shillings and the United States of America at 7 billion shillings. Key export products include horticulture, tea, apparel and clothing, coffee, mineral oils, petroleum oil products, animal and vegetable fats, machinery and parts, iron and steel products, as well as pharmaceuticals. Kenya will be leveraging on the ongoing Dubai Expo to boost exports to the UAE. From matters exports and imports to the sporting arena, where hundreds of athletes who attended a consultative meeting Forum in Kisii County have raised alarm over rogue athletic coaches who are perpetrating dismal performance of athletes. Former Olympics 5,000 meter silver medalist Isabella Onchichi proposed that more athletes should be trained as coaches, as well as inclusion of athletes from in all AK branches countrywide. She also advised athletes to be hawk-eyed and self-disciplined so as to identify individuals masquerading as coaches. Justin Mogire, a marathoner, suggested retired athletes should be trained as coaches to provide them with a retirement plan after hanging up their spikes, in addition to keeping the true spirit of athletics alive. Concurring with the majority of sentiments, national head coach Julius Kirwa reiterated his personal commitment to weeding the sport of rogue coaches to ensure that all athletes are in safe hands.
And now it was decided that we come out, get to where the athletes are, go to their areas, put them together and listen to them.
Tuko na mambo mingi sana ambayo hatuwezi tukasuluhisha tukiwa na wanaume. So mimi kama mwanamke nikiwa na wale wanariadha wachanga ambao pia ni wanawake, we are more free. Sio vile nitakapokuambia. Kuna maneno ambayo siwezi tacha mbele zako, lakini nikipatana na mwanamke mwenzangu tunaweza ongea.
The national women's netball team lost 57-46 to Zimbabwe at the African Nations Championship in Namibia. The win came as a huge relief for Zimbabwe following their 47-44 defeat to Botswana on Sunday.
They struggled to stay in the tournament as Monday's match saw the Gems dominate from the first quarter up to the final whistle, but better ball control would have bagged more scores for the Gems. The first quarter break ended 16-8, with the second quarter ending 31-22. The third quarter ended with 44-32 score, and the final quarter 57-46, all in favor for the Gems.
We as Africa Netball have decided that on the 2023 Netball Legacy, the World Cup that will be held in South Africa from the 28th to the 6th of August in Cape Town, we will, on our legacy, give Kenya a wooden floor.
Zimbabwe Netball Association President Letitia Chipado said the victory was timely and would boost the girls' confidence, considering that they fielded a youngster side.
On that note, we take a quick break, but when we're back, we're going to be sampling what has captured the eye of the scribes this morning on our various newspapers. So do not go away. We'll be right back.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
Abantu ba Mintombo Yamore. Your favorite Ekegusi station, Minto FM, is now at your doorstep. Enjoy the hottest Kisi music, informative and entertaining shows, and reliable news only on Minto FM. Tune in to Minto FM on 91.7 FM in Nyamira, Kisii and its environs. Minto FM in
Seeing as you're going to deny it, I'll also continue investigating until the truth comes out. I can assure you of that.
You should have thought of that before you betrayed me.
I never betrayed you, believe me, Dad. I will not leave the company voluntarily, and neither will Alejandro.
This means you have to get out of here, Alejandro.
Do you have any idea of how things are going and when you might get out? The Amazons. Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email newsroom@kbc.co.ke, call 0723 892 654 or 0734 780 124.
Roads are doing, and we'll focus on Lang'ata Road. For those coming from Magadi Road from the areas of Rongai, Kiserian and the likes, the road is quite good until they get to Galleria Mall, where there's a bit of traffic around that roundabout. So here also people from Karen join in, and from there on the traffic flow is quite good, just a slight traffic on your way ahead. Nothing too serious. It won't take you long on the road because it opens up real good, and then some slight traffic ahead again. But when you get to Lang'ata, before you get to Lang'ata police station, you also get to experience some slight traffic there. Past that, again, it opens up, and then there's some slight traffic around this section over here near Camp David, and then opens up again, but we get a gridlock when we get close to Lang'ata Barracks, opposite Lang'ata Barracks. That is the Kari estate. In those areas, there's a bit of some gridlock there. Moving ahead, you experience some moderate traffic and then get back to the gridlock, which is quite heavy. For a long time, there's no movement on the road past the Southern Bypass into Uhuru Gardens. There's still some heavy traffic over there, no movement. But when you get to along Carnival stage, before you get to Carnival, it opens up a bit. There's some movement on the road, so there is some hope there. After the opposite Carnival stage, that is when you're going to CBD, there's some slight traffic. And then you get back to some moderate traffic there along Airport View Estate. It goes on until you get to Weston Hotel, where it opens up a bit. Again, there's some slight traffic, which can be owed to the construction that is ongoing. As you move to T-Mall, there's some constructions which are set to be completed next year, 2022. So after it's done, probably the roads will be better. And then when you get to T-Mall, now you can choose which route you prefer, depending on whether you need to get to CBD, or maybe you want to get to Nyayo and divert. But if you're going to CBD, you can choose to use the Mbagathi way if it's an alternative. But let's first continue with Lang'ata Road to see how it progresses. From the T-Mall, it opens up. There's a free flow of traffic. You get some slight traffic when you approach the next roundabout around Total, the Madaraka roundabout rather. There's some slight traffic there, but after you branch off, there's a free flow of traffic again, all the way to Nyayo. And once you get close to this next roundabout over here, you experience some traffic, moderate traffic there. It's moving slowly, but it shouldn't worry you a lot because it's not a gridlock. You'll be in town very quickly, better than how it started. And then you proceed into town. it opens up just a bit slightly and then opens up better until you move ahead again. There's some moderate traffic. As you go on, let's now take a look at how the other route is. That is the Mbagathi way from Timor. From the roundabout, it's quite free. There's a free flow of traffic, just some slight traffic around this section here in Mbagathi way. But when you move up, there's actually free flow of traffic. You'll get real fast as you move up. Some slight traffic in this area as you approach Kenya Defence Forces Memorial Hospital, but after that, the road opens up again. You experience major traffic when you get to this section. That is around Medina Center. Mosque there's a gridlock, which means that traffic is barely moving. There is no movement. But after that, again, we see it opens up, but there's just a slow movement of traffic. Okay, so now you get in through Ngong Road and you are in town. That's it from the traffic update for now. Back to the headlines.
All right, so after the news update and the traffic update, now let's take a look at what's on your local dailies here. And on the Star newspaper, on the front page, Mutwa's reality check, conned by US cab driver. Mutwa's reality check, conned by US cab driver. Governor feels that Kenya, just like Machakos, needs to play catch up to the level of countries in the West. Is he for real, or is it all hocus pocus? Okay, that's on the front page of the Star. We also have on the front page, almost half a page of the Kampala terror attack, and Kenya is now on high alert following that twin bomb attack yesterday in the capital, Kampala yesterday, where it is reported that scores were reported dead and others injured after suicide bombers attacked the capital, Kampala. Now, what does laxity blamed for escape of terrorists? Matiang'i says that probe also suggested possibility of incompetence. Authorities believe that the escape of the 3 convicts who were serving jail terms at the Committee Maximum Prison for Terrorism-related crimes was aided by wardens. 7 wardens were Monday arrested over the escape, and officials said that there could be more arrests. So the 3 were being held at Block A, which holds some of the most dreaded criminals. It is not possible to stage an escape from the block unless one is aided, officials who have been there said. And now Interior CS Fred Matiang'i said that preliminary investigation suggested the escape from arguably the most secured maximum prison facility in the country was abetted by laxity and incompetence, and they say that they are going with investigations. Talk to the woman of the day and woman of the hour. I'll work with all to make city better, pledges Kananu. All eyes are on Anne Kananu after being sworn in as Nairobi's 3rd governor on Tuesday, that is yesterday. With the remaining 9 months, Kananu is banking on the Nairobi Economic Stimulus, a 5-point program to deliver services to the city. The program, according to the city managers, said that the program comprises inclusive education and improved quality of early learning through the employment of additional 219 ECDE teachers. So that is according to her plan. And as you say, off to work. Artists earn 52% from Skiza tunes in Raila Alai Bill. in line with ODM leaders' pledge to reform management of creatives' work. So he said that the Copyright and Amendment Bill 2021, sponsored by Homa Bay Woman Representative Gladys Wanga, provides that premium rate service providers would get a 7% share of the net revenue from the sale of ringback tunes, and telecommunication operators would be entitled to 16% of the net revenue. So if that is actualized, then I think it will be something for the artists to earn from their, from their art. It's quite important. And finally, on that twin bomb attack in Kampala, Kenya tracking terror cells, and now Kenya deployed heavily armed police officers around key installations yesterday in response to twin suicide bomb blasts that rocked Kampala. At least 6 people were killed and hundreds injured in the Ugandan capital. One blast was near Parliament buildings. The other was near the Central Police Station, that is in Kampala. And National Police spokesman Bruno Shioso said that they have heightened security, putting in place multiple operations to mitigate any threat, and said that Kenya authorities have also activated intelligence agencies to check on the contacts of the level of threat. Jen.
All right, let's now move on to the Daily Nation. That story concerning the bus that crashed yesterday has been featured here. 12 perished in a bus crash, 11 died on the scene, and the 12th passenger died while they were receiving treatment at a nearby hospital, with most of the victims being elderly people who were going to register for the Inua Jamii cash transfer program. And it also, as per this particular daily, they did indicate that most of those that perished were from the same village. The elderly people were from the same village who were being accompanied by some of their relatives who were also among those that perished. So they were very closely related, the number that actually perished in that particular crash. May their souls rest in peace. Moving on to some politics, KANU fights back as Oka wars deepen, with Gideon Moi saying wounds that did not heal in disbanded NASA is to blame for the current tension that they are experiencing as a coalition. But on the other hand, we have Musalia Mudavadi and his allies who now say that, or rather accuse the KANU chairman of hatching a plot to take Oka back to the Orange Democratic Movement leader, under, of course, Raila Odinga as the leader, with actually Kakamega Senator, that is Cleophas Malala, and other allies that are linked to Mudavadi, describing Mr. Gideon Moi as the coalition's weakest link, quote unquote. He has been described as the coalition's weakest link, saying that saying that a weak he has a weak body language, politically speaking. How do you have a weak? Okay, anyway. Those are the words of Malala, Cleophas Malala, saying that Gideon Moi has a very weak body language, politically speaking. And NC wants KANU to make up its mind on either backing Mr. Odinga or being part of the One Kenya Alliance movement. Now, coming to the story that has been on all the headers since it happened this Monday, prison break or inside job? That is the hard question and the main read here on this particular daily. And they have actually put an aerial image of the committee maximum prison, and next to it is the committee medium prison. They go on to give details of the major landmarks that you can be able to see from this particular image. There is the committee medium prison that is also manned around the clock, fully manned. But now looking at the maximum prison in itself, it has 7 watchtowers that surround the perimeter wall on the outside part. It has 7 watchtowers. There is a slab at the front. There is a slab roof at the front with 2 offices at any given time. It is manned round the clock. Looking at the main gate, it also has armed officers who are controlling traffic in and out. There are some open fields towards the right side as per this image. But looking at what they have said here is that between 6:30 a.m. and 7 a.m. a.m., there is usually a roll call for all inmates and a change of shift of officers. And as per this daily, they say, you know, those are some of the inconsistencies that are now being picked out, saying that during this roll call and the change of shift of officers, they should have been able to, you know that there is some convicts that are missing, but at 10 a.m. is when it was discovered that these 3 terrorism convicts were missing, despite the 7 watchtowers that are manned 24 hours a day and a double wall perimeter fence patrolled by sniffer dogs and police officers on horsebacks. That is just what has been captured here on the front page. They go on to give a chronology which goes back to 2010 of convicts who have managed to escape not just Kamiti prison but many other prisons across the country, going back to October 2010, the past 10 years or so. And the highest number of prisoners to ever escape at a go was in April 2004, where 28 inmates escaped from the industrial area remand prison. We'll be giving you more details once we get to that particular part of this segment. But we also have this interesting piece here concerning the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, with the budget cut signaling the end of Badi's NMS. So the National Treasury slashed its allocation to the Metropolitan Service because they were not given any funds for the 2022-2023 financial year, signaling the end of the road for the entity, given it was attached to the office of the president. And as we all know it, this is just a few months until His Excellency exits that particular office. So could this be the end of the Nairobi Metropolitan Service, which has been in existence for slightly over 2 years or so? And finally, Madam Governor Anne Kananu sworn in as city boss at 41 years of age after 10 months of being in waiting. A lot of back and forth when it comes to her appointment. That story has been captured here on page 12. And of course, all that was culminated by her 5-point plan when it comes to reviving the Nairobi County and, you know, improving the quality of life rather for Nairobi residents. With let me just mention for you this particular 5 points that, you know, the 5-point agenda that she has for the county. Number 1, to boost early learning and enhance inclusive education by employing 219 early childhood development and education teachers. Number 2, she would also provide free milk for about 6,440 children in the more than 229 public pre-primary schools in the capital. She would also sink boreholes and install 850 water tanks across the 85 wards in Nairobi, 10 for every ward. And finally, she promised to launch in the next 30 days a recovery plan with a focus on security, community policing, lighting, and sanitation. More details coming up as we proceed on within the headlines.
It has a full plate. Her place is full with only 9 months to go.
5-point agenda plan.
5-point agenda plan.
You know?
But hapo kwa maziwa
yenyewe imerudi.
Hapo there. Something that would be a good idea. All right.
Stephanie. Okay, so with me here, I have People's Daily, and also we have that story on Miss Kananu, the new governor of Nairobi County. Congratulations to her and all the residents of Nairobi. We celebrate her as we celebrate today our women at the forefront. Making the splash, which is the main read, is Ruto's remarks anger Central Kenyan leaders. Yesterday, Deputy President said that the president cannot sack him and that those opposing his 2022 stabs were cons. This statement drew anger of politicians. His exact words were, "I will never resign and nobody can sack me because he," referring to the president, "is not the one who gave me this work but Kenyans." Other stories still on making the front page is the somber story about the 3 who are dead, the 3 dead in Uganda's terror attack, and the 33 who are injured. Also, on the same note, there's an accident that claimed 11 elderly in Embu County. On to some other news is that there's a steep rise in cost of food stocks, of food, which shocks families. So prices of basic commodities have gone up to about 30% ahead of festivities. So some of these prices are cooking oil, which traded 1 liter, which traded at 265, is now 325 shillings. 2 liters, which traded at 535, is now costing 610. Bread, 400 grams, which went for 50 shillings, is now 55. 600 grams of bread, which was 75, is now 82. Sugar, 1 kg, which was 120, is now 150 shillings. Milk, which was 50 shillings, has now risen to 56, and other supermarkets have it at 55. And maize flour, 2 kg, which was at 105, is now 125 shillings. And this rising cost of living has forced most urban residents to consider foregoing their annual migration to rural homes. And the pinch is set to squeeze even more as the taxman moves to introduce the 4.97% inflation adjustment. On to some business news in People's Daily is that Kenya is among the nations that have been hit hard by the global tax abuse. A study done by Tax Justice Network, Global Alliance for Tax Justice and Public Service International, estimates that countries globally are losing $483 billion. This is 54.1 trillion shillings in tax each year, with developing countries bearing the greatest brunt. And this billions lost to tax havens a year is just but the tip of the iceberg, because the report continues to say that in addition to that cost, $312 billion is lost to cross-border corporate tax abuse by multinational corporation, and $171 billion is lost to offshore tax evasion by the wealthy individuals. The amount, the report drafters add, is enough to fully vaccinate the global population against COVID more than 3 times over. So that, and also maybe to sample a health story here. It's a research in Mombasa County, where 4 out of 100 persons in Mombasa County are diabetic. This is said by the County Department of Health. So this is a serious case. The county coordinator of non-communicable diseases, Esha Bakari, said a majority of diabetic patients in the area are above the age of 40 years. And he said fears that the number might be high, owing to the fact that many people are unwilling to go to do health checkups. So it is very highly advisable that we do health checkups regardless of how we are feeling. It is in order to avoid these lifestyle diseases. So those are just some of the stories that have made news on People's Daily.
Oh, now just coming to the Standard there, a replica of what we've had on the various dailies this morning. Standard, the Star, as well as the People Daily and the Daily Nation are reading from the same script. Matters of terror and a security breach at the Committee Maximum Prison. Question is, was it indeed a prison break? Who aided the escape of these 3 terror convicts? There 3 questions have been posed on the front page. 1, why did it take the prison's authority more than 8 hours to establish that the terror convicts had escaped? 2nd, after the police officers, or rather the authorities, learned of the prison break, why did they delay to alert the local police? 3rdly, how did the escapees beat a 3-layer security scale to scale security to scale a 10-foot wall in a compound with floodlights? Those questions are going to be answered sooner than later as the security apparatus continue with the investigation. 7 wardens so far in police custody, and information that may lead to the arrest of the 3 is most welcome. Get in touch with the relevant authorities there. A 20 million shillings bounty for each inmates there. That makes it 60 million shillings. So if you have information that may lead to their rearrest, well, it is open. At the end of the day, you and I are Wanjiko, my brother and my sister. So let us be, keen and vigilant about what is happening around us. More so at such a time that we are waiting for news updates in regard to the Uganda blast there. Just a day after, we had the same time after we had that particular news that those 3 terror convicts had escaped. Further on, talking about security, is that we expect that the U.S. Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, will be meeting President Uhuru Kenyatta today over the region's security. Now, this visit comes a day after President Kenyatta raised the country's terror threat level to due to the war raging in Ethiopia, and one day after the explosion that rocked Uganda's capital, Kampala. Now, this visit by Blinken comes barely a month after President Uhuru Kenyatta met with U.S. President Joe Biden at the White House, and Biden described Kenya as a leader in the region at defending and advancing peace and security in the Horn of Africa region. So we'll be keeping tabs on that and see what comes from that. Remember, Kenya and U.S. there actually are part of the Security Council. So we are likely to see some head turns in regard after this particular meeting, maybe bolster our security services there, or in vigilance, so to speak. Also on the front page, you have Matters Politics, why Raila is wooing persons in Kwale, that is the coastal region, while Ruto wraps up the Meru vote hunt. That is what is happening on the political scene. Let's talk about the Migona saga. So Le General, aka Le General, that is Migona, could not access the country. Now there's another fresh petition by his lawyers to see the general back. If it's going to be successful, well, we yet to see. So Migona was deported and his Kenyan passport perforated. And following the deportation, Justice Judge Odunga ordered that 200,000 shillings be slashed from the salary of the Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i, as well as the salary of the then Immigration Principal Secretary Gordon Kikalanga for failing to produce Migona in court as had been ordered. So much has been happening to lawyer Migona, who now has filed a fresh petition seeking orders to compel the government to lift a red alert it allegedly issued, barring him from returning to Kenya. Talking about the corridors of justice, just barely last month there, Kenya woke up to some sad news in losing a talented athlete, and this is none other than Tirop. So the main suspect in the murder of the late Tirop is none other than the spouse, that is Rotich, aged 41, who was arrested in Changamwe. Tirop was buried on the day that she would have turned 26. She was just 25 years old. And as far as Ibrahim Rotich, the key suspect in the murder of athlete Agnes Tirop, is concerned, he has denied the charges before the High Court in Eldoret. So appearing before the court, before Justice Ruben Nyekundi, Rotich pleaded not guilty after the mental assessment report from the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital showed that he was fit to stand trial. According to the particulars of the charge, Rotich is said to have killed Tirop on October 12th at the rural estate of Iten Township, Elgeyo Marakwet County. Jocelyn Mitei, who was told holding brief for Rotich's lawyer Ngige Mbogwa, told the court that defense was working on filing an application for his release on bond. We'll be keeping tabs on that as we focus on those stories that have been making headlines in the corridors of justice. Also matters of, Kananu being the first female governor and was sworn in yesterday as Nairobi's third governor. And also an update is that the sports cabinet secretary once again has snubbed the house in the FKF probe. We'll be giving you details in a bit. We take a quick breather.
ups and downs, you know you've always been around. So every day me show you love and not just Father's Day alone. Daddy, let me tell you straight, there's no greater man I'd want to emulate.
I'm not the perfect man for you. It's good to pray, thanks and praise for all my days. I never meant to cause you any sorrow.
I believe that love can touch someone, only love can conquer the hate inside. Just your favorite girl, you're my favorite boy. Come dance with me forever. Girl, you're my favorite boy. Come dance with me forever.
Abantu ba Mintombi Yamore. Your favorite KBC station, Minto FM, is now at your doorstep. Enjoy the hottest KBC music, informative and entertaining shows, and reliable news only on Minto FM. Tune in to Minto FM on 91.7 FM in Nyamira, Kisii, and its environs.
Minto FM, in Nyamira.
Mimi hata wazimu pia tasikuwa nao. Hiki changu ni kipawa Maya.
Hakuna, nilikuwa na sindikisha pili.
Kwani hana miguu? Na wewe hauna masikio ama ndo nini?
Don't fool yourself. Sikuja hapa kwa sababu yako.
Thank you for leaving me for my mom's house. It's not that she's mean, it's just that she does not get me.
Wajua mmenikoroga. Ni vipi?
My name is Posire Marupe and I was told to come to this class.
No wonder. You know some of us pay our own school fees. We do not have the so-called daddies to pay for us.
Can you imagine me and Will Smith are literally buddies? Sorry, Jada.
How would you like if I pay your fee alias?
That is not enough even for dowry.
You concentrate. Who is paying your dowry?
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima tutaangazia ufugaji wa ng'ombe wa maziwa.
Mara mingi utakuta wakulima wana pool matiti. Hiyo sio njia mzuri ya kukamua ng'ombe. Utakuwa unaumiza matiti ya ng'ombe na ng'ombe inaweza pata mastitis, ugonjwa wa mastitis.
Kisha tuelimishwe kuhusu internet kutoka mwezini inavyonufaisha wafugaji.
Kwa saa hizi lengo yangu ni kusema kwamba nataka itumiwe na wale ambao wako na nia ya kufanya agriculture, that is one. Pili, katika harakati ya masomo, and also fishing in the lake and in the sea, among others.
Ambatana nasi Jumapili saa 9:30 hapa KBC Channel 1 kwa utendeti zaidi.
Tangu kuzinduliwa kwa vigezo vinne vikuu vya ajenda ya maendeleo na rais zijulikanazo kama the Big Four Agenda, serikali za kaunti zimeanzisha baadhi ya miradi inayoambatana na vigezo hivyo.
This Big Four Agenda provides young persons with multiple avenues for self-fulfillment, economic empowerment, dignified living, as well as service to Kenya.
Kaunti ya Kitui imeanzisha miradi ya kuzalisha bidhaa mbalimbali huku ikibuni nafasi za kazi na kukuza uchumi.
Governor zote tungechukua hii Big Four Agenda. Hii ndio game changer.
Ijumaa hii saa 2:30 jioni katika KBC Channel 1. Tazama jinsi kaunti ya Kitui ilivyowekeza katika miradi inayolingana na the Big Four.
One thing that I do know is my brother's gonna have my back and he's gonna honor his word. We got Tom Lawler's back, we've proved it. When with low key, we just hope that he honors his word and we know that we're gonna give it everything we have.
While I don't fully trust low key, we have a common enemy, Contra.
At the War Chamber, my brother and I, and Tom and low key, we're going to war.
So we are back with the traffic updates. We had earlier taken a look at Langata Road. Let's now see how Jogoo Road is doing. So joining in from Manyanja Road, from the people coming in from Tena and Donholm area, this road, Jogoo Road from there, seems to be quite okay with the free-flowing traffic. When you go ahead, there's just some slight traffic on the way, but it gets serious when you get to this point over here, where there is a gridlock all the way up to areas of Makadara Estate. The gridlock is there and it's in between. There's some movement, but the gridlock is the one which is dominant. As you approach CBD, it opens up again around Mbotela. There's some slight traffic which is moving quickly. Then moderate traffic around True Foods over there. And then it opens up again, slight traffic, but there's some quick movement. And after this roundabout, it opens up real good all the way up to around Makongeni Police Station, where we get some moderate traffic there. But when you move up again, you experience a gridlock. There is no movement. When you're approaching City Stadium, there's a gridlock over there, and then it opens up, but not for too long, because it opens up to a moderate traffic, so there's some minimal movement, and then it gets better along the way when you get closer to the roundabout again. So past that roundabout, going to Ladis Road, it opens up some slight traffic over there. But once you get to this roundabout, which gets you to town, to the CBD, there is a gridlock there, but you have other options which you can use to get into town. So that's it about Jogoo Road. Back to you.
Fantastic, and we're back now. Today being Wednesday, it's now Viewpoint, and let's talk about matters transport. It is the second biggest contributor to our GDP by 8% after agriculture, and we have to understand how what are the dynamics in the same industry and how it can be developed, and if better still, how some of the industry players are making it to the GDP. And just gentleman who is going to help me to understand this better is none other than the chairman of the Super Metro, Nelson Mwangi Nduki. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Victor.
You are doing marvelously out there. We'll talk about that later on. And with me here is also my fellow journalist, by the way. He'll also tell us his story. You started as a driver?
Yes.
Oh, yes. He's called Frederick Mwaura, who is also the communications director and coordinator at the Super Metro SACCO here in Nairobi. So let's have a discussion and understand what the industry is all about. It was one of the most affected industry during this pandemic, but slowly it's gaining momentum, and we hope that soon things will be fine. Gentlemen, let's come to the show. First of all, we have got some beautiful things here on our table, the trophies that you won recently. We'll talk about that one a bit later on in the program, but karibuni sana. Chairman, let me start with you. How are you managing it in the industry that was much affected by the pandemic? How are things right now?
First and foremost, Victor, thank you very much for inviting me to KBC.
Yes.
And again, good morning, KBC viewers. My name is Nelson Mwangiduki, and I'm the chairman of Super Metro. Victor, it has not been easy at all with the COVID. Since the time it came, you know, everybody had very good hopes and very good dreams.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, the dreams were shattered by the COVID-19, and reaching to a point whereby now with the protocols of the COVID that came to affect our business so much. You remember very well that our seating capacity was reduced by 40%, meaning that like our bus that used to carry 33 passengers was reduced now to be carrying 19 or 20 passengers. That, if you translate, is a reduction of the revenue that you used to get from that bus. Again now, the times that the working hours were also reduced, because you remember the very first time that it happened, the curfew used to start from 5 a.m. and close at 7 a.m. I mean 7
p.m.
7 p.m.
At some point it was revised to 10 p.m.
Exactly, yes.
Exactly.
So that really affected our business so much. A bus that maybe used to make like 8,000 shillings in a day dropped to 2,000 shillings in a day.
That is a big loss.
It was a big loss, and you see, there are some costs that actually you could not actually be able to avoid, like the insurance, like servicing the vehicles, buying the tires, you know, all that. So our business actually was very, very, very affected.
You talked of something that perhaps many people do not understand. You know, when a passenger gets into a vehicle, they'll only see a seat and a very big screen, and that's it. But there are costs involved. The labor, you have to pay the drivers, you have to pay for the for the SACCOs, you have to pay for how do you call the stages?
Yes.
You have to pay for the insurance again and the service and what have you. So does it mean that the transport system is struggling to meet its cost?
Currently, yes.
Yes.
Before COVID, I would say we were not struggling so much, but with COVID and even after COVID right now, we're still struggling because business has not stabilized. Even after maybe we've seen that the curfew hours has been normalized, and also we've been given, the government has allowed us to carry full capacity, but still there is no business. Although it is slowly picking, and we are just praying and hoping that things are going to get back to where we were before COVID. But otherwise, even now, we're still struggling, yes, in the business.
Let me bring Frederick here. From the communications point of view, does it really paint a picture that the transport system is also one of the best in terms of the GDP? They contribute to the GDP, that is 8%, and that is a huge amount of money. Talk from Mombasa to Kisumu, the entire country. From your own perspective, what have you learned throughout this period that you've been with the SACCO?
Thank you very much, Victor. I've learned a lot in terms of transport, and I've come to realize that the matatu transport industry is one of the biggest, because you can check from the earnings.
Yes.
Like now, it has employed so much, including like now we have the car wash, we have the makangas and the drivers, everyone. So like when COVID came in, you will see that it stagnates down. But you see, it's also, you are bringing up families through the transport industry. But most people, when they view it from outside, they don't see it that way. But when you're inside, it brings up so many families.
So anasema you have to get in kwanza ndio utajua how it operates. From your own experience again, you said that there are so many people who are employed.
Yes.
Because when you talk about the makangas, because for example you work in shifts.
Yes.
How has it changed people's lives?
Now, first of all, I will say it depends with the circle you are in.
Yes.
Because like ours, first of all, discipline is the key number one. Because if you're not disciplined, you will not be able to handle even our clients.
Yeah.
So what happens is you are molded. And then you become that person that the circle wants to be. And first of all, you have to have self-discipline. Because with self-discipline, you are able to serve everyone around you.
Yeah.
Without discipline, you can't make it. And that paints a bad picture to the circle. Yes.
Chairman, he's talked about the issue of discipline. And just before we went on air, we were talking about when you go, for example, take a look at the aviation industry. Generally, customer care is important. Because the moment you're going there for business, that person who is going to be boarding your vehicle, you are offering your services to that person and he'll be paying you or she'll be paying you. But in this industry, we've seen not so good kind of behaviors in terms of, we have got some rogue, operators, abusive kind of, conductors and operators, drivers. How do you streamline the system in your own circle to make sure that customer care is actually quite part of the integral part of your service provision?
First and foremost, there is a word that is normally used, particularly by the media, when they are trying to describe our industry, that it's a chaotic industry. One that I don't like it very much, because
why do you think it's called chaotic industry?
I have never understood why, but I wish the media could actually be able to look for a better word to be describing, the industry. Because as a Super Metro in particular, we believe matatu industry is just like any other industry.
Yes.
It is a business just like any other business. And that is why when we came into the industry ourselves, we have tried to bring some sanity in the industry so that everybody out there can actually see this one is a business like any other.
Yeah.
It can be done in a different way. So when you're talking about our staffs, the drivers and the conductors, one, when we came into the industry, we did not come with drivers from wherever we came from. We just got, push drivers from the circles that were existing then.
Yeah.
But we had to sit down with them and make them understand that this one now is a business like any other. This is a job like any other job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we had to change the minds of the drivers and the conductors. So, and it's not easy trying to instill discipline in somebody maybe who has been used to doing things in a different way.
Exactly.
And you want that person to do it in a different way.
Yeah.
But I thank God because where we've reached, we've been able to achieve that.
Yeah.
Because as normally what we do is that if you are recruiting a driver or conductor, he has to make an application. He has to meet all the required
threshold and requirements.
Threshold, yes, exactly.
Yes.
So that if it is all the requirements, we normally want to know where did you reach in terms of the education, right? What courses have you maybe undertaken? If you're a driver, what experience do you have? We have a panel in Super Metro that is read by the directors.
Yeah.
And that panel is to recruit and make sure that we get the best drivers and the best conductors and their behaviors and all that. So if you're not qualified, you don't get a job with us.
Yeah.
If you're qualified, you become a driver or conductor with us. And that is why that if you look at Super Metro, it's good to say this, that we deal with drivers who respect other road users. That comes from us.
But Chairman, just to cut you short, you talked of chaotic, industry. We've seen most bullies. When I don't know why most people. Why do matatu industry players think that they deserve the right of way anytime they were on the road? Because I think that's where the perception of the chaotic industry come from.
Okay, that is one thing that we realized.
Yeah.
There is a problem there, and that's what we've been working on.
Yes.
As for Metro, we have really invested a lot in terms of now changing the behaviors of the drivers. It happens here and there, yes, but I wish even other circles could join us so that we can be able to bring sanity into the industry. And it's just a matter of making the drivers and conductors know this is a job like any other. It is important to respect other road users. And it has happened. It has happened with us. Like, I know you can remember like 2 or 3 months ago, when we joined, we decided to start plying Gong route.
Yes.
The circles in Gong went on strike. But then, as we had been licensed by the NTSA and the county government of Kajiado to operate within Gong, then the stage was very chaotic.
That's right now the chaotic industry now.
Yes, but right now, when we went there, if you go there in Gong stage, there is a lot of, it is very organized currently. In fact, what happened is, as we were located very far from the exit and the entry.
Right.
We didn't care because we knew what we were taking to Gong people. And I'm thankful because of the customers that comes from Gong, because they gave us a lot of support. Right now, the other circles now have ganged up together. They have become like one circle, trying to copy what we are doing.
But I think that now that is a healthy competition in the industry.
So that is a kind of change that we are bringing into the industry. So we are very happy about all that. So together, we can be able to change the behaviors of the drivers and the conductors.
Yes.
And with us, we believe it is a job like any other. And I tell you, Victor, that in our circle, the drivers, majority of them are living in their own houses. Yes, through the same job. Even the conductors. But having changed their mind, this is what you're supposed to do. It's a job like any other. We have graduates today, Victor, who are earning less than 25,000 shillings.
Right.
Our drivers are earning more than that, 35,000, 40,000 shillings. So it's a job. The conductors are equally earning good money, so it's a job.
Yes.
So now what we are doing is just trying to change their minds and make them respect what they are doing. By so doing, that when they get into the matatu now, if it's a driver, he'll have to respect other road users. If he's a conductor, he'll give everything that he is required to do to make sure that he respects the customer that is calling.
Right.
You don't overcharge the customers, you don't become rude to the customers, and you reach to the destination where that customer is going. Before, Super Metro, what used to happen before we came in is that customers could board a bus, maybe they are going to Kikuyu. But along the way, when others, maybe 80% have alighted,
so remaining only like 2, 3 or 5 people.
Yes, you don't reach. They are sold. They talk about selling them to
the next bus.
Exactly. But ours, that is not the case. You have to reach the destination, whether it is 1 or 2 customers.
Because I'm trying to imagine if you're having a flight and the flight says that you're going, for example, in Dubai, and you only have 1 person. So do you have a stopover somewhere in Ethiopia or somewhere, then say, because you only have 1 person, you're going to sail to the next flight to Dubai or to the US. That I think it's a good gesture to customers. But Frederick, as a young person who the chairman says that has employed many people in the industry, out there we have got many graduates, and joblessness is one of the issues that the government is tackling and trying to address. Young people who are out there, the perception is that the matatu industry, as he said, is a chaotic industry. And it employs many people. From what he said, it's paying well. And most of the people are living in their own houses, according to the chairman, and even, feeding their families. What can you tell the young people out there who are looking for jobs?
See, number one, Victor, you must have a positive mind. Because as like us, like for example me, I'm a graduate. I've done journalism.
Right.
And media studies.
Jen, and my job is under threat. I'm a journalist here. Director, did you see that? Yeah, we have a graduate, but it's quite inspirational, right? Continue.
Yeah. So I started from Nikiwa Makanga, down there.
Yes.
Still going to school. But you see, people think that when you are in the matatu industry, number one, you are a dropout. And you are a very barbaric person. But you see, for us, we went step by step,
yes,
until we reached here we are today. Because like now, my fellow youth, they don't have that positivity. They only think that when you see somebody from the matatu industry, that is a dropout, that is somebody who is so rough with life. But we have also sustained families. Like now I have 2 daughters.
Yes.
Through this job. The same job.
Okay.
Now, to my fellow youth, let us have a positive mind, and they are welcome, especially in our company. They feel much welcome, and they come and we team up, because we are earning good money and we are sustaining our families.
Yeah.
That negativity, they should throw it away.
Can I apply talk of
Victor,
earning good money? Can I apply?
To add on top of that,
yes,
we have conductors who are graduates. We have drivers who are graduates. Our account clerk today had come to apply for a conductor's job. So in the process of the interview, we realized that he's a graduate. He had done accounts and all that. So we took him as an account clerk, right? So I would want, like what Freddie has said here, let people or the youth not think that matatu industry is meant for those who did not go to school. It is changing, and we have tried to change to make it look like this is a job like any other. One thing that is a challenge to our government, we are dealing with like 20,000 matatus in Nairobi.
Yes, in Nairobi alone.
In Nairobi alone. It is estimated that in the whole Kenya, we have got 100,000 matatus. So Victor, you can imagine how many people have been directly employed by the matatu. Leave alone the ones who are indirectly employed by the same. So it is quite a huge industry that requires to be supported by the government. One, a conductor only requires to have very good customer service, because he is a person who interacts with the customers most of the times.
Yeah.
So I wish the government could actually chip in and look for a way of how can we be able to train these people, because it's a big industry. And again, I tell you, Victor, is that we have, the matatu industry has tamed so many youth. Even if they are not conductors, even if they are not drivers, maybe they are manning the stages.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Those ones, that person, that youth comes there very early in the morning. He leaves that place very late in the evening, tired. So there's nothing else that person will do. Go and sleep, and he's going with milk and a bread for the family, so that he'll not think about doing other things. Otherwise, if the industry was not there, then you can imagine what could be happening to us Kenyans when we are going home in the evening or waking up early in the morning.
Yes.
So it's an industry that requires to be supported by the government, because we are doing quite a lot. Maybe one may not even know what matatu means exactly, what the matatus is doing, right? Even to our contributions to the society.
The GDP.
But even not the GDP, even to the
society, yes.
Right? You may not know, but actually we are doing quite a lot.
Which we'll talk about a bit later on. Chairman, just to chime in, the issue of the growth of infrastructure in the country in general has seen many people actually getting into the industry. We have got SACCOs, we have got different entities and what have you. Step by step, would you please just give me an example, or perhaps some of the advantages of joining a SACCO, because somebody would want to join the matatu industry as an individual as compared to joining a SACCO. Would just explain to me that shortly when we come after this break. Today we are focusing matters transport. Frederick here says that, you know, he started from that low level. He is here today, and by the way, he's a journalist. We have graduates in the industry. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about matters CSR. We have got trophies here. What did they win? Let's talk about when we come back after this break.
Mimi hata wazimu pia hata sikuwa nao. Hiki changu ni kipawa maya.
Na wewe Hauna masikio ama ndio nini?
Don't fool yourself. Sikuja hapa kwa sababu yako.
Thank you for leaving me for my mom's house. It's not that she's mean, it's just that she does not get me.
Wajua mmenikoroga. Ni vipi?
Seeing as you're going to deny it, I'll also continue investigating until the truth comes out. I can assure you of that.
You should have thought of that before you betrayed me.
I never betrayed you, believe me, Dad. I will not leave the company voluntarily, and neither will Alejandro.
This means you have to get out of here, Alejandro. Do you have any idea of how things are going and when you might get out?
Abantu ba Mintombo Yamole.
Your favorite KBC station, Minto FM, is now at your doorstep. Enjoy the hottest KC music, informative and entertaining shows, and reliable news only on Minto FM. Tune in to Minto FM on 91.7 FM in Nyamira, Kisii, and its environs.
Minto FM,
Okay, so I'm the one driving this agenda, this super metro way. I'm the driver. We're talking about transport system, if you got what I mean. Okay, so let's talk about the issue of the challenges that the matatu industry face, Bwana Chairman. What are some of the challenges that you face as generally as a matatu industry in the country?
I think we have a lot of challenges as an industry. But majorly, the challenges that we would say that we get is failure to get support from the government. Because if you were to get support from the government, most of the challenges that we go through will be addressed.
Yeah.
Because they're quite a lot, and I may not want maybe to talk about them now because of the time.
Yeah.
But I would want, because I know the Minister of Transport and the PS of Transport maybe are watching the show.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. One of these days, it's important for us to be invited as the stakeholders and maybe talk to the government, tell them about the challenges that we go through every now and then, because they're quite a lot. But one thing that we're happy about is that the government is addressing the issue of the load almost everywhere in the whole country. So that one is definitely going to reduce the cost of
that is called the infrastructure.
Yes. Repairing our vehicles. So that for one has been addressed. We are grateful and thankful about that.
Yeah.
Other challenges, of course, is like what we've mentioned about changing the behaviors of our drivers and our conductors, because those are the ones that maybe interact mostly with other road users.
Yeah.
And the other one is also touching on how can the government maybe chip in and we join together and address the issue of the customer service
yes
within the industry. The government thinks so much about maybe the other industries like the education, the health. They train those. So it's also important to look at what can we do so that we can have conductors who are well trained.
Right.
Right? So that one will help us so much. The drivers, of course, goes to driving schools, right? So, and okay, those ones are tested by the government. So when they're coming out, you know, they're qualified drivers.
Yeah.
What about these conductors who are so many? These are the youths. What can we actually do as in the industry and the government? So that it is taken like this is actually a job like another.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point. Frederick, the issue of customer care is paramount. Anywhere you go, customer care is quite, it's a sensitive issue in every industry. Perhaps when you sit on your desk and there's so many complaints that you face, how do you tackle them?
Well, when it comes to complaints, first of all, I forward them to my boss, because there are others you can reply, and there are others that they want in-depth explanation. So the chairman is always open to such, whichever time. So that gives them the confidence to negotiate or to talk to us. And you know, conversation goes a long way.
Exactly.
And it gives them the trust of the company, because they are our bosses, of course. So if we don't give them our time, and we don't give them instant feedback, you know, we lose them.
Exactly.
But for us, we work on that. Before them to the chairman.
The chairman.
Yes.
Okay.
Again, Victor, to add on to what Freddie has said, when it comes to indisciplined cases, actually the drivers and conductors refer us Super Metro as a school.
As a school?
As a school. Because if you're caught with an indisciplined case on Fridays, it is very busy. You'll find so many people waiting for their cases to be determined by some panelists, I mean the directors.
Yeah.
So if you have an indisciplined case, we assess how bad it is. We can either suspend you, of course we can forgive you, or we can also expel you, depending on how bad it was. So when it comes to indiscipline, we don't negotiate on that. And that's why we are able to be where we are, because of addressing that issue. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just take you back to a function that you held sometimes last week with one of the service providers that I don't want to mention. You signed a deal worth over 500 million shillings. And for people who are in this business and want to join, there are so many avenues that a person can get into the matatu industry and even join the circles. One of them is leasing through the banks. And you can even buy cash if you have the money. How does that operate? Perhaps you can just teach someone there who is yearning and probably dreaming to join that industry.
Well, I would say, and thank you, the people that have partnered with us, Super Metro, having confidence with the SACCO in the industry. It's very important. So I don't know whether I can mention them myself.
Maybe.
Yes. I would want to thank the Isuzu East Africa and also the Corporate and the Cooperative Bank.
Yes.
Because we partnered together and we agreed that they're going to give us that finance, leasing. And leasing, when it came to the industry, it started last year. It was something new in the industry. So Super Metro is the one that actually was listed the very first buses.
Yes.
They tried with us. And then after some time, then I think we proved to them that it's an idea that can work.
Yes.
So it started working last year. We got some buses last year. Now this year again, we have gotten some buses. And I say it is a good idea because you're only supposed to raise like 10% as the deposit.
Yes.
Which is more affordable than the normal 20 or 30%. Then again, when it comes to the industry, it is matatu industry, I would say, has money if you just respect it and take it as business. And when you're dealing with a SACCO that has its own structures, right?
So first of all, it has to start with a SACCO.
Yes.
Right.
So that way, then you can be, you're not relying on the driver or the conductor. You are relying on, we have a SACCO here which has its own structures. The SACCO is the one that is setting the fares.
Yeah.
Right? So the customer is not going to be overcharged. the SACCO is the one that is setting all the regulations, all the rules that need to be followed.
Yes.
When you're negotiating with the bank also, it is now the SACCO that is taxed to negotiate. Then you come as a customer or an investor, we will allocate you a bus.
Yes.
After now meeting, of course, the requirements that is set by us. So it is easier when you're dealing with the SACCO than when you're going alone. Because sometimes maybe your account cannot allow you to get a loan from the bank. But now here, we are the ones who are negotiating on your behalf.
I get it.
Right?
Yes.
So now it will be very easy for you because we have done it for you. Just tell you, pay so much money, then the bus is here, get it.
Is it an approach that many people are buying right now?
Sorry?
Is it an idea that many people are buying right now?
Of course. Like the buses that we are given, 50 of them, within a week, they have all been taken.
Yes.
So it is Kenyans have actually known now what leasing means, because this one is not the normal leasing. This one is leasing to own.
Leasing to own.
To own.
So you repay and after some time?
The period, 48 months, the bus will be yours.
Okay.
As opposed to others, it's like you have been leased for 4 years. Then after 4 years, that property or the bus is taken by the leasing company.
Yeah.
So this one is totally different from that.
Okay. An interesting bit. And quickly, now let's talk about this because I'm running out of time. Let's talk about this trophy here. Perhaps my cameraman could just show. This is that one. Yes. Camera can just zoom in briefly. Okay. This metro that has achieved top score brand status as the most efficient and disciplined urban-based matatu SACCO in Kenya. It's quite hard for a matatu industry or a matatu, for example, Super Metro, for a company to get such awards. It goes a long way. That it means that there's so much that a company has to put in place in terms of customer care, in terms of services, in terms of efficiency, reliability, and what have you. What can you tell your competitors that they are out there, even people who are watching and saying, I would want to be like them, maybe tomorrow or even next year?
One, I'd want to thank Top Score because of awarding us.
Yes.
Because of maybe of the support, the input into the matatu industry. And again, it looks like maybe somebody out there may think that we've given out money so that we can be awarded.
Yeah.
To be very frank, we did not even know about all this. We were just called to go and receive an award.
Okay.
So whatever little thing that you're doing, do it as if you'll never do it tomorrow.
I like that.
The good things that we were doing, somebody somewhere was watching, right? And that is why we were awarded. Why? Because Super Metro has been known to be very timely. Super Metro is very affordable because we are the ones who compare our fares.
Yeah.
Super Metro has best customer care. Why? Because we train our crew. And I think that is why, coupled with everything else, we have very clean buses. And we always make sure that our buses are mechanically fit. Right? I don't think it is possible for you to come across a Super Metro bus that maybe is not even clean inside and outside. So all these coupled together is maybe what has made us to be awarded, to be awarded by Top Score Awards. Yes.
Okay. And Frederick, very briefly, in every organization, for example, like this one or any other organization, there's this part of giving back to the society. And you're also quite involved. Something that very few people would not know about, that yes, you're in business, you are earning, but you also have to give back this to the society. And you've been quite involved in some of these activities out there. Perhaps in 1 minute, just take us through.
Many people don't think that the matatu industry can give back to the society. But for us, we organize after every 2 months, we organize an event. And this comes in when we post it on Facebook and tell our clients, you can choose the home that needs our help. So when they choose, we pick and then we organize. Like now, most of the people think that the matatu industry, let me say this, they cannot give like the girl child sanitary towels.
Yes.
But for us, we even put them on the dashboard, even for our clients to see. Plus for our boy child, we give them like boxers and all that stuff. And for the elderly, we go and give them food and we cater for them, we wash, we cook, and we do everything. These are drivers and conductors doing the same job. And then our management team led by our chairman comes in and then inatuzindikisha. And we do it after every 2 months. But most people think, I will challenge even at the other circles, they think that these people do it because the chairman has said, okay, give them the cash and then they do it. No, it comes from within, from our clients. Then we set a date, then we do it. And I would like to tell people, it is always good to paint a smile to the less fortunate. Because you don't know about tomorrow.
Service to the humanity. Actually, that's what to be said, that after all this thing you've done, utakumbuka na nini? You get, you kumbuka na nini? I'm coming to a close, but I have to remind you, excuse me? Okay, so I'm being told that next month, Super Metro will have to give us one brand new car, fully kitted with the cooler box, brand new one, with the driver and full tank, and a place destination of our own choice. Yes, we're heading to. We'll tell you. Thank you so much for joining us in the show today, Chairman.
Yes.
Your parting shot.
Yeah, parting shot.
Yes.
First and foremost is to thank our customers.
Sure.
Out there, because of the support that they've given unto us. For where we've reached right now is because of their support.
Yeah.
Again, we would call upon anybody who wants to invest in the industry of matatu. Come to Super Metro, you invest with us, and we promise that you'll get value of your money. Lastly, is to promise to our customers that we know our customers have been asking for buses in other routes. We have not gone. But we are getting some new buses, apart from the ones that we got. Coming months, we're getting like around 40 buses.
Yeah, okay.
So we are going to go into those routes.
Thank you so much.
So thank you very much for inviting us.
You're welcome.
We are very humbled.
Thank you so much. Because we are stuck out of time, we've actually been overrun. Thank you so much. We've been talking to the chairman of Super Metro, Mr. Nduki, and the communications and coordinator here, Frederick. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming. We'll keep watching, because the way you said, do your bit, because somebody is watching out there. We are taking a break. Jen will be back with more. Stay with us.
So we are back with the traffic updates. Let's take a look at how Langata Road is doing, as well as Jogoo Road, if there are any updates from how we left it. So here from Galleria Mall again, the road looks quite clear. There's a free flow of traffic all the way to around Uhuru Gardens, where we experience some moderate traffic here and there. Nothing serious. It's just traffic, heavy traffic that's moving, but yeah, it's better than how it was earlier. And we can owe this to the construction that is ongoing around T-Mall. So from T-Mall, this is where you decide on which road you prefer to use. You can either take Magadi Way, or you can go ahead with Langata Road. Let's take a look at Langata Road. We continue with it. Going up, it's very clear. There is no traffic on the road all the way up to around the Bunyala roundabout, where we experience some moderate traffic. Nothing serious again, but past the roundabout, there is a gridlock. Here, there is no movement of cars, so it's like a parking there. But after that, there's moderate traffic. It opens up again, and then we experience a lot of traffic from this point. There's moderate traffic, some gridlock there, the maroon color representing the heavy traffic that's on the road not moving. It's a parking around this area. So past that, you get into town. After you go through the Haile Selassie roundabout, you get straight to the CBD. And the good news about it is that there's no traffic once you take on this Haile Selassie Avenue Road into CBD, as there usually is. There's just a slight traffic that has just built up right now, but it might clear up within no time. So for those that prefer to use Mbagathi Way, let's take a look at how it is. Those headed to town, it's actually very clear until this point, where it's this point along Riara University, where there's just a slight traffic, opens up again, some slight traffic that's moving very quickly. So it's all good all the way up to the Ngong Road roundabout, where you join the Ngong Road into town. So you will experience some traffic past the roundabout, somewhere around Nairobi Hospital there, but it's nothing serious. Because it opens up later on, and it's smooth all the way with just a slight traffic that's moving really quickly as you approach the CBD through NHIF, and you're good. So the choice is yours to make between Langata Road and Ngong Road. There's not much difference, so either way, any will do. Let's take a look at how Jogoo Road is doing from how we left it. Those joining from Manyanja Road, people coming from Tena, Donholm and the likes, the road is very clear all the way up to where you get close to Makadara. We see some moderate traffic which builds up along the way. Where we see the maroon color, it shows there is parking. There is no movement at all, but along the way it opens up, then it closes again. Crazy traffic there. But going from Botella region, that sector, it opens up real good all the way to the next roundabout, past the next roundabout, approaching where around Makongeni police station. There is just some moderate traffic there, nothing much. It opens up, the traffic moves really quickly. We also see some gridlock there as we approach the next roundabout into the CBD. From here on, the city stadium, we take the Ladis Road into town. There's just some moderate traffic here and there. There's some gridlock as you go on, some moderate traffic, and once you get past the roundabout, nothing serious. It goes slowly, but surely you will get to town on time. Let's now close the traffic segment as we join Jane Wambui with Women at the Forefront.
Thank you for that. And you are right in time for Women at the Forefront. In case you are just joining us, karibu tena sana. I am Jane Wambui. We are glad you are with us. Remember, we are up and running. Our communication platforms are open. Use the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Our official station handle is at KBC Channel 1 across Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. My handle is at Jane Wambui across the socials. So today on our Women at the Forefront segment, we have the pleasure of having Mary Mbogwa, who is a counseling psychologist as well as the founder of Kapilon Counseling and Rehabilitation Center. And today it is going to be all about addiction, and more so addiction among our women. You know, it is something, just looking at what, research out there, looking at how far it goes back, even in history, matters to do with addiction were a bit discriminatory back in the day because they only focused on men, and women were left out when it came to research around addiction because they were not considered to be part of the population that would any way, shape, manner or form abuse any drug. So since time immemorial, it has always been against women. They haven't really been factored in when it comes to looking at the consequences of addiction as part of the population. But as per what research has had in the recent time, since women were brought into the conversation and understanding how addiction affects women, it has been clear that it is totally different than how it affects our men from way back then up until today. So that is what we want to talk about today. If you have any questions or comments, or you are just seeking clarification, we welcome you to talk with us using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya. Karibu sana.
Asante sana, Jen.
Thank you for making time to be with us today to talk about this sensitive but yet important discussion. Are you on the social media platforms?
Yes.
How can our viewers find you?
Mary Mbogwa on Facebook. Yes.
That's what you use
for now.
All right, so Mary Mbogwa on Facebook if you feel you want to interact with her directly. So before we get even deeper into this conversation, let us start by understanding you're a counseling psychologist, but a bit about Kapilon Counseling and Rehabilitation Center.
Okay, thank you so much, Jen, especially for having me, and good morning to the viewers. Kapilon started as a seed, I would say like a dream, because it came out of passion and it grew out of passion.
Yes. Yes.
And we are a community-based organization where we just started giving talks to high schools and to the people around the community in the areas revolving around addiction. And then with time it grew, and then we got to a place where we now started rehabilitating people. There would be people we talk to and they would say, I wish I could also have these services, but I do not have money. So we started off as a CBO, and we are on that note, and we are currently admitting clients.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Now you focus on both ladies and gentlemen.
We started off as women, but as we are growing, we are also accommodating men.
Fantastic.
Yes.
All right, so now let's come to the topic of conversation today, addiction among women.
Yes.
First of all, what is the general opinion when it comes to addiction and the link with women?
Like you have said, Jane, it has been quite assumed for a very long period of time. Actually, the research only came after almost a century when it comes to women in addiction, because women are not perceived like people who maybe could be among those who could be considered like addicts, or maybe they were just overlooked, or maybe it is with time how women have not been perceived or have been perceived as a lesser gender when it comes or in comparison to men.
Yes.
So addiction in women also, we are not also at that place. I wouldn't say tumefikia pale yet. We are still at that place. We are still struggling, but right now so far so good, I would say. And even the women are still struggling to come out to say that they have that problem. So I would continue to urge women, do not feel ashamed, do not feel embarrassed. We are here as counseling psychologists, we are here as addiction counselors, we are here to support you. So if you feel you have that problem, just come out, because there are these social norms that a woman, a pombe, you know, a woman who is an addict, we're still not there yet, but we are doing our level best, I would say. As a country, we are trying to forge forward.
All right. And I'd like to know from your interaction with the different women that you have been able to interact with, because as per what I found, you know, just doing my research, there's so many factors that come into play where women are involved in addiction, as opposed to our male counterparts, boiling down to just our gender. Can you help us understand that better?
We can classify that as well into some sects. Maybe we can start with the biological bit.
Yes.
You know, the way we are created, we have so many hormones, and our hormones fluctuate. Every other month you'll find a woman, the mood swings are high and low. So some really struggle with coping with that. So you'll find most of the women, they want something to just cool them down. Some it starts with painkillers. So you'll find someone, every time the menstrual period is up and the hormones are all over the place, so you'll find someone using painkillers. They start with like Buscopan, and then now it becomes a norm, and then they can now not have the menstrual period without or off drugs, even when there's no pain, because they're already accustomed to. So when it rings, I'm almost, so I must stock my painkillers there. And also you'll find that even recent research that we have seen, when they use even rats, the female rats, you'll find that the women, because of estrogen, they're more susceptible to getting addicted. Later on, you'll also find that research as it is going on, especially in women, as we have high body fats, even if you are smaller in size compared to men. And you see, and you see most drugs are designed to get dissolved in lipids. And actually, you know why they say bangi or weed stays in the head for like 7 years is because, you know, the biggest percentage of the brain is made up of fat. And you see now most of the drugs, especially like weed, they are made now to digest or to dissolve in that fat. So that is why it has its place in the brain. So for women now, imagine it is not just the brain, it is just the whole body. So you'll find us, you can take a drug today and then now you become hooked up so easily, because now you have that environment ready. Also, you know, when it comes to body weight, ours is a bit low. So there are drugs that you'll find I might stay high for longer, because let's say I've just taken a drug that was supposed to be digested or could be digested faster through now the body weight, I mean water weight in the body, and I have little amount, so the concentration will stay higher for a longer period of time. So unaweza kuta nilivuta shasha asubuhi and still maybe by midday I'm still quite high. Also when it comes to acidity in the stomach, acidity helps dissolve the drugs, some of the drugs faster, but now in women you'll find that our acidity is quite low compared to that of men. Also metabolism, yet to end up pole pole. For men it's quite fast.
Biologically so.
Yes, biologically. So you'll find that I might stay higher for longer. And also that makes me get hooked up easily. So we go to the social norms, I mean the social bit of it. So we find that women, we you know, like they say, mwanamke niye boma, mwanamke niye nini. So there are so many tags and so many social
roles,
pressures.
the gender roles.
Yes, there are so many, and you see, for some to cope. Actually, you'll find that many women, they are now using drugs to be able to cope, because you still want to maintain a sober mind in the evening when the children are out from school. You need to show them homework. You have washed, you have cleaned, you have been at work, you have been doing all that. So you'll find that it is also a challenge. And then also women are not able to come out more clearly or more early. So you'll find that women who are wanajificha sana, they will always hide. So till now it gets to the worst that you can even notice, and it is noticeable. Now that is when we get to them, when it is pretty too late. So when they're already
when it's
addict,
already manifested in harmful ways.
Yes. So when they're in the very last stages, that is now when, not unless now these empowered women, where you see in a family where there's communication, that they can be able to open up freely, and in a position where maybe parents are more, or guardians, or the people involved are quite attentive, and they can tell through the time that there's this change that we have noticed, and that. Where caregivers are more keen, they will realize it earlier, but because women, we hide it, so you'll find that it is known way later. Also, when it comes now to things like finances, nowadays women, we are empowered, so you'll find that I have that extra coin, we have this ladies night, you know, I can afford all that, so you'll find me going out, and then there's some extra coin, and that extra time I want to spend it on myself in the name of having fun. And then also peer pressure ingine, women, we do not have money, because now we have two clutters. There are those who are more empowered, and there are those who are still in the village.
Two sides of the same
Yes,
coin.
you're still waiting for the man to give you money, and then all that pressure now leads you to that. So those are some of the issues.
Now, you know, you have actually just gotten to my next part of the conversation, just looking at the drivers of, you know, addiction, and especially where women are involved. But I'd like to understand from you, from what you have seen, which age group is heavily affected, or rather mostly affected, when it comes to addiction and dependency on the drugs? Is there any to start with?
Initially, I would say there was. However, currently, you know, Nakada tell us that even a class 4, you know, the earliest one could be admitted at a facility, or the earliest one we could consider one an addict is from class 4. You know, initially it was all about men, and the cluster, you'd classify, especially during campus times, and now the working class, in between maybe the early 20s, or when you're about that age when they get to campus, because now that is where they get overly exposed. And then now when it comes to now that time you're earning, and there's no much responsibility, once women settle down, now that all that stops. That is what I would say initially. However, right now, we're all over the place, I would say, and the dynamics are quite vibrant right now.
Class 4, that's 8, 9, 10 years they're in.
Oh yes, and you see, like the other day I was in a particular high school,
yes,
and you see, you just get shocked. You just get shocked that even Form 2 are abusing. Even the peddlers themselves. We initially wouldn't tell that women would get to that level, and even if they did, they would really do it chini ya maji. They would really hide it. But right now they're doing it so openly. Some have even come out clearly to say, I'm not willing to stop, and I don't see myself stopping. So quite dynamic.
Now let's go back to some of those drivers, and one that I found to be very significant, and especially among the women mostly, has to do with self-esteem. Is this something that you can say, from what you have seen interacting with the different patients that you have, that has actually played a huge role as a driver and motivator for women to turn to drugs?
Oh yes, correct, absolutely. You see, women, it is all about self-esteem, self-image, you know, the self-concept in a nutshell. So you'll find that women, we want to be approved, we want to feel beautiful, and especially we lose it at that puberty stage. So because yes, I'm really struggling, so I'm struggling to understand my body and the features and the new developments. And also I'll find my friend ametumia barua, I mean, not yet, I've not received that letter yet. Does it mean that I'm beautiful or I'm not beautiful? This is one of the main leaders that is really pushing women to that. And when it comes now to intervention, one of the things that we are really key on is on life skills. So we do that training, and one of the topics that is given much attention predisposition is self-esteem.
I think we'll be coming to that in a bit once we get to the segment where we're looking at suggestions that are turning to healthy coping mechanisms, which I think is an area that is really lacking. But let's talk a bit about the more mature women. And one, or rather, I found a few factors, and I'd like for you to just tell us a bit more about that when it comes to a driver to turning to drugs and consequently addiction. We have seen mental health, mental illnesses, depression, anxiety, even the younger girls these days. There's so many that are suffering from some of these mental illnesses, and divorce also as a factor. To what extent do you think these two separately contribute to a woman turning to drugs?
There is what we call the genetic predisposition. So you'll find that when it comes now to the mental health, so you'll find many are born into a family or into a lineage, or genetically they're predisposed to that. So you'll find maybe depression runs within the family. If they've ever tried, if there's a member who has ever tried to commit suicide, so that runs in the family. That is why you'll always, when you go to a therapist, they'll always ask about the background. We even take the genogram because we want to understand, could it be a genetic predisposition that has led you to this fire? So mental health is a topic that we have quite ignored as a country, and that is one of the factors that, you know, I would say we are really struggling with. There was a client that I had who did not know or who did not understand that there was that predisposition or that gene. There's something we call the X factor. So they did not understand that they had that X factor. Just 17 years old, so you find them hooked. And then she was just saying, I only did weed once. And why is it that my friend has done weed for all those years? I've only done once, and now you're telling me I have to see a psychiatrist. You know, they wouldn't understand. Now what happens basically is, now that X factor, we are told that it lays dormant within our bodies till you activate it. Yes, once you activate it, so you'll find it, if I have the X factor within me, or that genetic predisposition, once I use, not even abusing, once I use something that now alters my mind, my body, that drug or that substance, so you'll find me more susceptible. I might even get hooked up. So it's like a Subaru umeifuel, you know, kukunywa. So you can be able to control it, I might not be able to control it. So that is one of the factors. When it comes now to divorce and
separation or breakups.
Yes, women, we are relational by nature. We are very relational. We want to be loved, we want to feel pampered, we want to feel accepted, we want to belong. So once now that breakup happens, and then like I told you, the connotation of the society is women, bomani, mwanamke. So it is assumed, yes, mwanamke ni nyumba. So it is assumed that once it fails, it is the woman who has failed. So what did the woman do? Actually, you'll find the society judging the woman more harshly than the man. Now when it comes to that, now the whole thing starts playing in their mind. Is it that I'm not I'm not worth of love? Is it that I'm not pretty? Is it that I'm not the self-esteem? And you know, once they crumble, they really crumble, because we are emotional beings as women. Yes.
Now, looking at the different categories of drugs, are there any specific that are found to be the ones that most women turn to, that consequently lead to addiction?
Yes, mostly they start with alcohol, because that is something you can easily stock in the house. And then now you see with our current era, we have many bars in the house. So belonging to your husband, so they will start with that small. A tot, they add water, a tot, they add water, moving on. However, right now you'll find that they're now using many other drugs. Also something that they really abuse, women abuse, is painkillers. You know, painkillers, I would say alcohol painkillers, and also opioids. Opioids, things like ecstasy, because you want that extra energy. Morphine, they're also doing a lot of weed nowadays, because you know, weed, depending on the quality that you're using, of course. So you'll have that one that will give you that boost of energy, because there's too much for the woman to do, I would say, in the current society. Also, the one that has been trending for the longest time now, until the government now had to ban it, shisha. You know, they find it more fashionable. You know, initially women used to do cigarettes, now they find the shisha pot, and you see, they say that one puff of shisha is equivalent to almost 100 cigarettes. You know, that is something that they assume. But those are some of the drugs. But painkillers, and now alcohol, and also now those opioids. Yes.
Man, it's crazy. Remember, if you have any questions or you're just seeking clarification, we welcome you to share with us your thoughts. We are absolutely open to any and all forms of questions, grand or simple. This is meant to be an informative session. Now, I came across a very interesting statement that men are likely to abuse illicit drugs, but women are more likely to overdose and consequently with fatal results. Is there truth to this statement?
Very true. You see, like I was telling you, once now they do this, so they experiment with rats most of the time. I think we are biologically, I don't know. I wouldn't tell. I'm not in that field or that area. So they used a particular drug. Let's take alcohol. So they take these spirits and they subject it now to a male rat and a female rat. So you'll find that as the concentration, so they will start and then add on the concentration. So once they add on the concentration, the woman continues to take it as it is, the rat, I mean. But the male one would now start to dilute it. You know, na sip kidogo and then inaenda nakunywa tu maji kidogo. But the woman, you know, the way we are built, unaenda nayo iende. So you'll find that, back to your question, so you'll find that women, we will continue with the concentration no matter how conk it could be. And also, like I mentioned, things to do with painkillers. Painkillers, you know, these are subscription drugs.
Yeah, over the counter.
Yes, over the counter. Access. You can easily get them. So that is what they use. Why? Because it is considered also by the society that kupata mwanamke amekalia sina tabu kwa bar, you know, there's that effect that woman might not want. By the time that woman is getting now socially ameshaji exposed, it takes a little longer. It is not the first time that a woman would just expose themselves. It is still now, you know, there are stages towards addiction. So you'll find ashatoka ya kwanza, ya pili, ya tatu, ya ine, maybe from the fifth now, that is the time that they are exposing themselves to the society.
Clearly, culture also still plays a very huge role given we're in a patriarchal society.
Yes.
Now let's come to those stages that you've just mentioned of addiction, and consequently just look at, you know, the habits between men and women when it comes to seeking assistance. Take us through the stages of addiction.
Okay, so initially there's what we call the pre-contact. Pre-contact, it means you've only come into contact with it maybe during what do we call it? Sacramenti. You know, when they
Holy Communion.
Yes, Holy Communion, yeah. Maybe you've only interacted with it during Holy Communion, and basically you've not gotten to that point, you have exposed yourself to that. Or maybe cakes, you know, there are those that they use as preservatives. Now that we consider as pre-contact. And then now we go to experimentation stage. So now that is the time you experiment. So especially to high schoolers, now that is when your friend tells you, if you want to be cool, take this puff and all that. You go to that baby shower, you go to that bridal shower, you go to that wedding, or even at home when you're seeking blessings from the parents, you know, they tell you have to sip kidogo. Now you're experimenting. And most of the times during that stage of experimentation, it doesn't go well. A very few percentage will experiment and will still want to go on with it. Because if it is cigarette, if it is about smoke, you'll cough a lot. If it is alcohol, many people puke a lot. If it is now through the injection, you'll feel a lot of pain and you'll feel like that rush was quite high, and my body cannot be able to stand. Now when you move from experimentation, you now go to social use. Social use is where we might be considered as safe. If everyone was maybe, if people would only maintain it at the social use, then we would all be safe, because now this is that once in a while, there's that wedding, and you see the thing with the social use, it means you still have full control. So I can offer you a puff and you'll just once and then you're done. It can stay there, it can remain there, or if it is a sip of alcohol, you'll just sip it. If someone calls you outside, you'll just leave it and forget about it.
You're still within your sober self.
Oh yes,
you have control, self-control.
You're only using it for leisure, you're only using it because others are using. I mean, that would be the best explanation. You're only using it now for the purposes of interactions and for having fun, and now for having that conversation going. Now we go down to regular use. Regular now, this is the time, you know, most of the time times in experimentation and social use, you find yourself that you have just been bought for, you've just been introduced. Now when it comes to regular, you can now even pass by the bar in the evening, pass by the wines and spirits for women. You know, women don't just go sit in the club. Rarely do they do that. So you'll find, especially when it is starting, they want to hide in the past and then go kwacho. So that is what happens. So now that is regular use. And that can happen maybe once a month, maybe once every weekend, and then alternating weekend. It is not yet a custom that you're going to use it over time. And then now when you get to that, now you go to addiction confirmed. So now this is the time. When it comes to regular, people will start noticing there are times you disappear kidogo and then come back. If it is work, you start now with the truancy, or maybe you start getting late. You're very punctual by 8, you're at work but now, or at school, but now maybe 8:15. It's not that serious at this regular stage. Now when it gets to addiction, now this is the time now most of the signs manifest. You have now lost control. If it is a man, now he's already now out of touch even with the family. He's not providing, because now when it gets that 100 shillings, 70 has to go to alcohol, and then you'll find a man now using just 30 bob. You know, for women, you'll just find ourselves no makeup now, not looking lovely. You'll find that now most of the attention now goes to, and now people can notice now truancy at work, at school, or any other place, and then you'll find now them neglecting the children at home, toto hajaosho, and then things like that. Now this is when you can really see and when you can really tell that now this person, something is amiss. And then now you proceed, and then now the last stage is what now we call rock bottom. So rock bottom is where you have tried everything, and then it has failed. And now this is where now we tell the people that you have 3 chances in life, or now 3 options. So it is either, if you're lucky enough, you find yourself in a mental institution. If you continue with the use, maybe you find yourself in a mental institution like Mathari or anywhere, or you find yourself, even better, you find yourself in a rehab if your caregivers or family can afford it, or maybe if they're concerned to that level. And then now the other one is 6 feet under, because the continuity of now abusing the drugs, their health complications, their mental complications, psychological, even social. So you'll find even most of, like, I can give you a story. There was one day someone was sharing, someone who is was already recovered, and he was sharing with us a story about a friend, and he said that there was this time this guy just drank and he had lost it. I mean, it was past addiction now stage, almost towards rock bottom. So what happened? This guy went to, you know, the way they say, the car knows the road. Unfortunately, alienda akashuka gari yake, and then he walked to a faraway place. He couldn't tell, he couldn't know. He was not conscious at that particular moment. So when he went, unfortunately, he slept by the doorstep of a certain grandmother who had been raped severally. So when the community came, when the grandmother went outside, so she presumed that this is the guy who has been doing. Now finally God has brought him, you know, and that was how the guy was broken, almost every other bone in the body. So you see, even socially, people just get exhausted with you, because you're predisposing yourself even to many dangers.
So much danger.
Yes, so much danger.
Now this brings me to our habits in seeking treatment. Comparing us, the female gender, to our male counterparts, how do those patterns look like?
Quite low for women. Quite low. Like I told you, it takes a longer period for a woman now to finally admit that I have a problem. That is number one. And it comes now to denial. Theirs is quite high. Secondly, like I told you, it is very hard to substantiate and tell this woman now really needs that help, because they hide a lot. And once now they want to oversleep, they want to do all that, so they hide quite a lot. Now maybe till afike uko rock bottom, you know, now once they get to that stage that there's no turning back.
We wait too long.
Yes, we wait too long, and by the time now you're coming, the liver is affected.
The damage is already done.
Yes, the damage is already done. And then you'll also find that I'm a woman, I have a family, I have children, I have a husband, so you'll find me now doing the math and thinking, how about my child, how about this and that? And you know, most facilities, you cannot be able to accommodate a woman, 3 children, you know, because they want to still keep in touch. Now that is also a challenge.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, due to the interest of time, let us now move on as we conclude this conversation.
Okay.
What are some of those healthy coping mechanisms that will help alleviate the problem and not lead one to addiction or being dependent to drugs and substance abuse? Healthy coping mechanisms and some advice to those of us who could be watching today and they may be struggling with one form of addiction or the other.
Okay. First and foremost, let us know ourselves, let us know our abilities. You know, as women, tuondoe kasumba, like we are superpowers. You know, like you can clean, you can do everything perfectly, A1. Everything has to be A1.
Super women.
Yes, we are not super women. We are human beings by the end of the day. Sometimes it is very good to take a break. When you feel overwhelmed, just take that break. Even when that child comes and they are all over the place and you feel tired, just have a way of explaining to them that this is not the time mommy needs to rest. Mommy needs to have some time of her own. You see, don't struggle too much to be that superpower. I'm not talking about neglect. Do not neglect them, but just find yourself some healthy time where you can refresh, where you can regain now that power or strength that you have lost. Also, something that they can do is also join these empowerment groups. There are many empowerment groups, because you'll find that, especially like you've talked about divorce, there are also widowers. Once the husband passes on, you'll find that they're more exposed to that, or they feel the neglect. They can join these groups, and they can be able, that can be one of the places where they could get the healing. Also, and I would really encourage them to seek therapy. You know, counseling is there for you, counselors are there for you, so please seek the services, because they can really help in a lot in avoiding that, and in alleviating, or in preventing for you not to get to that point where you can only find the solace now through the drugs. What else? What was the other question?
When it comes to now seeking healthy coping mechanisms as opposed to turning to, you know, substances that numb you or that stimulate you, things like this, to just escape reality.
Yes, just don't numb your emotions, don't numb your feelings. Don't let it get to that point where you only express yourself once you have taken the drug. Do not find the comfort or the solace in that. Yes, and also something I could also add, also to the caregivers and also now the society. Maybe you can also stop now putting all those pressures on women and assuming and considering them to be superpowers, you know, because we are not super women. We are human beings by the end of the day. And also women, if you're struggling with that and if you're just getting into that addiction, I would encourage you to stop it, because where you're headed is quite more dangerous than where you are. This is the time now to find for the right intervention. And now maybe you can seek now professional counseling, you can seek now those support groups and what have you. Yes.
Fantastic. I do hope from this conversation you've been able to take home a thing or two, especially so when it comes to picking up healthy coping mechanisms, because most of the time we tend to turn to those things that are not healthy, but they are, you know, they bring temporary relief, and in the long run they do have permanent damages. So this has been all about women at the forefront, of course, focusing on addiction, especially among the women, considering, you know, there isn't as much information when it comes to addiction and women, but we are on the right path when it comes to setting things right and helping our women understand that addiction happens and there is always help. We have been speaking with Mary Mbogwa, who is a counseling psychologist, as well as the founder of Capilon Counseling and Rehabilitation Center. Now, for our viewers who would like to get in touch with you, how can they be able to do so in case they have more questions or they are seeking assistance and they would like to, you know, get to understand this whole conversation better? How can they find you?
Okay, thank you for that. We also do trainings. Allow me to mention that we also do trainings. We go to high schools, we go to churches and women gatherings and also men gatherings. That is something that we are able to do. So in case of that, and trainings and seminars, in case of that, and counseling services, and also for the rehabilitation services, when you get to Facebook, Mary Mbogwa, send me an inbox. And also you can find us at Capilon Counseling and Rehabilitation Services on Facebook. Should I give my contact or?
Go ahead.
Okay, so you can reach me on 0739 501 103. 0739 501 103.
All right.
Thank you, Jen, for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for making time to be with us. Now, this, as always, is always meant to be an informative session. We never mean to discriminate in any shape, manner, or form. And we do hope that, you know, you get the assistance that you need from these conversations that we get to bring to you here. For now, we want to bring the program to a close. It has been an absolute pleasure having you with us here on Good Morning Kenya. Be sure to join us again tomorrow morning. It is bye-bye for now. We will be seeing you tomorrow. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing.
sikiza tune hii, Ufunuo wa Yohana 38, dial *811 *817 hash.
Wakati mwingi katika maisha binadamu hujipata kwa shida, unapata ya kwamba hauna usaidizi unaohitaji, biashara zinaisha, hakuna mapato ya kila siku. Lakini hata kwa hayo yote, Biblia inasema ya kwamba katika kitabu cha Ufunuo wa Yohana mlango wa 3 mstari wa 8, na yajua matendo yako. Tazama, nimekupa mlango uliofunguliwa mbele yako.
Ili kupata sikiza tune hiyo ya Yohana 38, dial *811 *817 hash. Dial *811 *817 hash.
The Amazons.
Seeing as you're going to deny it, I'll also continue investigating until the truth comes out. I can assure you of that.
You should have thought of that before you betrayed me.
I never betrayed you, believe me, Dad. I will not leave the company voluntarily, and neither will Alejandro.
This means you have to get out of here, Alejandro. Do you have any idea of how things are going and when you might get out?
The Amazons.
Dear for me, through the ups and downs, you know you've always been around. So every day me show you love and not just Father's Day alone. Daddy, let me tell you straight, there's no greater man I'd want to emulate.
I'm not the perfect man for you. Say, well, it is good to pray, thanks and praise for all my days. I never meant to cause you any sorrow. Only love can conquer the hate inside. 'Cause you're my favorite girl, you're my favorite boy. Come dance with me forever, girl. You're my favorite boy. Come dance with me forever.
Alipakash. Ujambia mtu wako udhonitu rakaraka kuo. Wakati atakuja uchumba, ndio atajua maana ya udhoni.
It will really kill him if he finds out tunamcheza.
Wacha nikwambie ile kitu si kazi. Ni wewe kuja hapa kila siku. Na unatoka kila siku bila pesa. Hiyo ndio si kazi. Go! Toka!
Hebu toka nje. Toka nje.
Pete, relax.
Kakuonyesha what? Kakuonyesha speaker.
For the brief, no, there's no brief.
Okay.
Because if it's documents, it's already in order paper.
Oh, the statements are already in the order
and the
paper.
question also in the, yeah.
So there is no for it?
There's no proof. It's only those two.
Okay.
And the members are here.
Okay. So this is the question being deferred?
Yes.
Okay. The last question. Why?
The speaker may not. The speaker may not. So.
So haina shida.
Ukimalizia hiyo tunakuja
Committee, so we are likely to move quickly. We are likely to move quickly.
The only problem, we don't know the members are ready.
To move to
Committee of the whole house.
Okay.
Because to make us equal, so it's like, that's one wengine anaandika. They are not around.
Oh, they are not.
They are requesting happens.
Okay. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
You are the one who is coming on Muruku. So you will come for committee? Okay. Sawa.
Is there a petition to be conveyed by the speaker?
No, it's only